Before the sport was polished, in the early days that would define Supercross, when the gear was loud and two strokes were the centre of the sport, it was Rick Johnson's era. This was a time when the sport was raw, dangerous, and still writing its own rules. In the 80s, Ricky stacked championships, battled legends head-to-head, and brought an intensity and persona that helped define an era. He didn't just win races, he raised the standard of how hard everyone else had to work. Indoors or outdoor, 125, 250s, 500s, if there was a gate drop, Ricky Johnson was a threat to win. Just as RJ was getting into his prime, a career-ending wrist injury would cut his time on the bike short. But when most riders would hang it up, RJ didn't slow down. He changed disciplines. He took that same edge from two wheels to four and went on to race trophy trucks, finding a new love in four-wheeled racing, proving that elite racers aren't defined by the machine. From motocross dominance to off-road brutality, Ricky Johnson's legacy is simple. Greatness adapts, and real racers never stop racing. Gypsy Gang, welcome Ricky Johnson to the podcast.
I met a gypsy.
All right, mate, I think we're ready to rip.
All right.
The bad boy is in the building. We've been trying to do this for a while, mate.
No, I know. We did a little something back at Pomona, right?
Yeah, dude, that was before Gypsy Tales was even a thing.
I didn't even know if you had a beard back then.
Probably just a little.
You couldn't even grow one then.
Yeah, probably. No, we did. If anyone wants to go back through podcast history, Straight Rhythm 2017.
It was the
last
second
one at
year.
Pomona. Yeah.
Was it the second year there or the third year there?
Maybe it was the second year.
Because the first year was down the drag strip.
Yeah.
And then the first, I think it was the first year that they came over to the flat track.
Yeah. Yeah, so anyway,
It's been a while.
That was before Gypsy Tales was even a thing. I didn't even think that it was going to be what it is.
Why did it become why the name Gypsy Tales?
It was just a nickname, because I just spent from when I was 18. So I worked in a Honda dealership selling Hondas. So that was what I did for a job. Like I had a couple of little random jobs out of school, and then I got a job at a Honda dealership. All I wanted was free bikes because I couldn't afford to race.
Well, all I wanted was free stickers, then free chain lube,
Yeah.
and then if I could get a free bike, and that's how it starts.
Yeah, and that's literally what it was for me. I just couldn't afford a bike, loved racing, wanted to ride, and so I worked at a Honda dealership so I could get like the race plan, where they gave you the bike and then you just gave them $2,000 or whatever at the end of the year. And then I started working for Stroke magazine in Australia with Yuriv Konski, and I worked there for like a year, and then I was like the whole magazine thing's like gonna die. So then I started doing an online thing called MX Daily. Got me into filming.
So who called you Gypsy?
Well, so I started basically this online blog and like filming, and I just lived in a van and just traveled all around the Australian circuit filming and like updating. It was like a Verb Moto. Verb Moto was like my inspiration.
Yep.
And so like I'd go to Ryder's house and I'd sleep in a van for a week and film and make video. Like this was before like any of the shit in Australia. Like it was very early days. So that just kind of stuck.
There you go. Living like a gypsy.
I know. So, and then, but yeah, so then it kind of just stuck, and that's just how I kept living. Moved to America when I was 20, and just the whole.
How old are you now?
38, 37.
So you've been here a while.
Yeah. Yeah, I went back 5 years, and that's when this started. And then 2018, I went back to Australia. I was like 28.
What side were you from?
Cairns, which is way up northeast.
Way up north side?
Yeah. So from there, and then was back there for 5 years, and then this kind of just kicked off to the level that it did, and the US was kind of.
And here you are.
And here I am. So, but no, stoked. It's cool to do this, mate.
All right.
Where should we start?
No, fuck, where do you start? That's why I did send you things saying, well, is there any idea? Do you have an idea where you want this to go? Or are we just gonna get out there and put on a punk rock song and just start thrashing and see where we end up?
Yeah. No, I mean, there's so much history. Like I had Gary Bailey in here yesterday.
Wow.
Yeah, dude. And just crazy where the sport came from and where it is now and where you fit into that. Because, so, I mean, he's so far back that he was the best rider on the West Coast of the United States. And then when the Europeans came, they lapped him.
He wasn't, yeah.
Like, isn't it crazy in 2025, about to be 2026, that the sport in America has progressed so much? Like, imagine what would be comparable. It's like China playing basketball against the Americans in the 60s or something. There's just like, you got no chance. It's not competitive. It's not even. And then, 60 years, 70 years later, America's at the forefront of the sport. And it was like your generation was where.
But are we now? Because the world's so small. You got Ken Roxon, you got the Lawrence brothers, you got the French guys, you got all these different, Geiger, over in Europe. So it's crazy how the sport went from this boutique Belgian thing, because that's where it started.
Yeah.
England, Belgium, Netherlands, not so much at the very beginning, but like Belgium and England, those were the guys.
Yeah.
Smith and Roger and Joel, and then the Swedes also were very strong and stuff like that. But America, the way it is, saw it and goes, this is cool. We're starting attacking it. And then for us, we were at the forefront of it because we had Supercross. And so we were forced to do all this kind of, play ride, timing jumps, clearing obstacles bigger than we thought we could at first. And they weren't set up like that. It was, let's just put some shit out there and see what they do. And then you had guys like Warren Reed and Danny Chandler and, guys that were really friggin' nuts, And I was one of those guys that was nuts. But then I started hurting myself, and I'm like, well, if nobody's doing it, I'm going to wait. If somebody does it, then it's doable. It doesn't matter.
And this was in Supercross?
Yeah, in Supercross in the early 80s.
Yeah.
So like 79, Koji Masuda was the first one to do a double jump, because they used to have these straight up, these jumps like with sand in the middle where guys would like roll them. And Koji Masuda, a Japanese rider, big teeth, factory Suzuki guy, clears it. And it was like, holy shit. It's clearable. So then, of course, just have an attitude that you have. If he did it, I could do it. It's the same thing. And who doesn't get credit for blitzing whoops was Keith Bowen. We're in Japan, and they made them. They were so square. So you're like, up, double, wheel tap maybe a little bit, this and that. And all of a sudden, I see out of the corner of my eye, number 68, Keith Bowen just go, whew. I'm like, what the fuck was that? Like, and then he did it again. And then I'm like, holy shit. Then the third time, he just endos his brains out. But
it was possible.
It was doable.
Yeah.
So I'm like,
had you ever even thought about that before?
No, because the way we did it and the way everyone did it was you wheelied like sand whoops. You do that, you do that. And Keith just hung off the back and just blitzed it. But his front wheel floated. It never dropped. But if it did drop, you were done.
Yeah. So he wasn't like hitting it. It wasn't like modern skimming.
He just off the back and did it. And so then I started doing it. I'm like, okay, I got to change my style a little bit. I need to be back, but I have to figure out how to get back, but not be heavy on the pegs, because your knee versus your ankle and pressure on the back, like a braking technique, knee back, that forces the back wheel down. And that's the problem with a lot of the guys that have, like I was coaching Cooper Webb this year, he's too far back. So by getting your knee a little bit over the top or right over the top of your knee, you don't force the back wheel down. Because you notice guys will go, ba, 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 and then it goes down.
Yeah.
And when you watched Chad Reed, Chad was, I think, the best at bringing...
His body was way forward before
anybody.
Yeah.
Well, because forks and stuff allowed it. Like when we had conventional forks, like in 86 and stuff like that, that's why I went to the upside downs early, because it had the stability. Because you'd come in and it would flex the fork and then add a no control of your own. You could be as strong as you want, but when that front wheel would flex, it would throw you into a whatever. And so when I had the upside down forks, which are now the conventional forks, you could blitz them and have your front wheel hit every one, even the square edge. And then James did it, and then Ricky did it, and then, on and on and on. But back then it was just get past them. that was the plan.
How many times did you go to Japan to race back then?
I won the first one in 82.
Was that Tokyo Supercross or something?
Yeah, Tokyo Supercross was the first one.
I've never talked to anyone that was a Tokyo Supercross.
Really?
Nah.
No, I can't say that anymore. And I won the first one. So Japan,
What was it like?
It was unreal. And so David Bailey and I were just talking about that. He goes, God, what's so different about it? Like something looks different. I'm like, everyone's got black hair. Like everybody in the audience had black hair. And the Japan audience was like very polite, very quiet. They're, whoa, they're quiet.
Yeah.
Like you'd hear the bikes and stuff like that. Americans and Australians and English and French and all that, and Germans, all that different stuff. They're loud and rowdy and they're drinking beer and they're screaming at their friends and doing all the shit. The Japanese people were very polite, very prim, very proper.
Yeah.
And even when they came to see you, like they would rush you, but stop. And when they got to you, they had stuff for you to sign. They brought you gifts. Yeah. It wasn't like the Americans, hey, give me your goggles, give me your helmet, give me your jersey, blah, blah. It wasn't that kind of shit. The Japanese would come up and they'd have these special boards, and then you'd sign it for them and they would do it. And a lot of times they had a gift for you.
Yeah.
Like I had a girl there that gave me everything from a Godzilla, a toilet paper dispenser, to custom jackets, to all this crazy stuff. And so when we went there, it was the riders had no clue what to do. I mean, the poor Japanese riders were getting hurt left and right. They're just jumping old school, trying to clear a double jump like that, and it's whipping them over the bars. They have no idea about tapping the brake, getting the wheel down, preloading the front, blah blah. So they had a hard time, and so did the Europeans. And that was kind of the beauty. That's why we were so strong in the 80s.
What was the crowd like in terms of attendance?
Packed, sold out.
That's unreal.
They showed up early. Very quiet getting in, very studious, very, respected everything. You could hear the announcers, you could hear the motorcycles, you could hear everything. And then when something happened, they cheered and then they shut back up. It was a great experience for me because I've been to Mexico at that point in my life. I've been to Mexico and not to Canada yet. And I hadn't gone to Australia yet. So I hadn't traveled much. But so when you go to Japan, it's a
totally different culture.
Like just everything. They drive on the other side of the road. The back of the cover of a magazine is the front, and so everything that they do. But I really really enjoyed the Japanese people.
Did you get to go there much over your career?
Yeah, I went there. So I went 82, 83. I don't think we raced 84, 85. Or might have been 85. So I did almost all the Supercrosses, and then we did Osaka, Tokyo, I can't think where else. A couple different ones. Kawasaki Stadium, Tokyo's a huge place. And then we did the Suzuka GPs too. I did it on a Yamaha, and then I also did it on Hondas too.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
How much involvement did you guys have back in the factory Honda days with Japan and HRC?
They used us a lot. Like they came to us because the Japanese champions were the main testers in Japan. But when they came to us, because Johnny, David, and I we were on fire that year, and they checked everything. They had us hold our breath. It was like kind of like the Right Stuff movie, where they hold your breath, stand on one foot. They're trying to find the magic that was, but a lot of it was, I'm gonna say American arrogance, but American confidence. We grew up in an era, and I learned this from Tortelli. He says, you don't understand what it's like growing up in another country, because you grew up always being told you can be anything you want. You can do anything you want. And I was told that, even though I was the dumbest kid in school, could barely read, couldn't spell to save my life. But I had parents that said, if you want to be a motocross champion, you can be it. You just have to work hard. So we had that confidence, and a lot of other countries didn't.
We flew all the way to Japan and filmed 100 Hours with Joe Shimoda. We premiered it in Laguna Beach, California, and the response was unreal. The room was packed, the energy was electric, and after that night, we knew we had to do something for the Gypsy gang who couldn't make it. Before Indiana Supercross on Friday, March 6th, we are hosting a limited screening of 100 Hours with Joe Shimoda. The theatre is just 12 minutes from Lucas Oil Stadium, so if you're coming into town for Supercross, this is the perfect way to kick off the weekend. This is your chance to see it on the big screen before it drops on YouTube. There are only 100 tickets available. I will be there, and I cannot wait to meet the Gypsy gang and experience this one together on the big screen. Bring your family, Bring your friends. Come experience 100 hours with Joe Shimoda the way it was meant to be seen. Once those 100 tickets are gone, that is it. We will see you in Indy. It's wild that you say that, man. Like, Australia is just the exact opposite, and so many places are the exact opposite. Like, there's just a level of, I don't know like how to describe it. I don't just want to say it's arrogance, because I think that's like the easy thing for people to say about America.
It's a fine line between confidence and arrogance.
But there's just like, there's this belief in the American dream. Mm-hmm. At least there was. I think it's dying a little bit now. But in your era, like you think about through the 60s and the 70s and the 80s, like post World War II, US, you made it through the Depression, and then the stock market started booming, and then you had the internet tech bubble. Like, so much innovation and so much crazy good shit came out of the US, and it was all built off the back of this idea of the American dream. But it really did transform the psyche of an entire country to all believe that they could be anything that they wanted to be, and if you can believe, you can achieve. As cliche as it sounds, true. But there's a lot of people that believe and don't, but then there's a lot of people that believe and do, and it's like that belief is the first step in becoming great for anybody.
I agree, and I am so blessed to be born when I was born and get to do what I do. And I mean, I started writing this little thing that I think I actually sat down with God. I don't mean to sound weird or anything like that, but I think I sat down with God and I planned my life, because I think I told him, I want parents that are kind of loose and, on the edge a little bit, and give me some freedom. Dick and Dolores Johnson. Yeah. You know what I mean? And then I want to be in an era where they make these mini bikes for kids, 3 years old. My dad found a mini bike at Sears. Then when I'm 6, then when I get a little bit older, I like something like a little motorcycle so I can learn how to ride. 6 years old, GT60. That'd be great if after that, get a motorcycle that's forgiving but tough, and I could just teach me how to ride really hard. XR75. Then, go into monoshock Yamaha. Then something that lasts, air-cooled, water-cooled. Then when I get 20 years old, I get the prime of my life, make motorcycles so strong that you can't break them. CR250. CR500, upside down forks, magnesium wheels. I mean, because I was in the first era of you can't break the bike unless you do something just stupid. I don't think Doug Henry broke his bike when he landed next to Jeremy. It broke him in two, and I think it bent the subframe, but it didn't break the bike. So then when I get older, I'd be cool if I could race trucks, stadium trucks. Then when I get really old, I want to do trophy trucks. I'm racing trophy trucks. So I feel that part of our confidence / arrogance comes from growing up as kids with kind of no boundaries. I came home from school. I put on a set of boots and knee cups, got on my XR75, no shirt, just a helmet and goggles, and I would go ride and just take off, go down the road. And then I would go do motos and then steal someone's, lawnmower gas and ride some more and just made sure I was home before dark. So now kids have to go. I mean, it's so sad that kids have to go to these training camps and do all this stuff, and they don't have a chance to think for themselves. They're overcoached. And I feel this is a problem. Excuse me for burping. I think this is a problem with our riders. They're constantly looking for an answer. No, asshole. The answer's right there. When James Stewart was racing and I was working on Tortelli, watch James. If he's 2 inches over to the left, go there. If he does a backflip, do a backflip. If he falls down, fall down. Because James elevated the riding. Like, I loved watching him. And I would have bets with Tortelli all the time. We walk the track and I go, James is going to clear this. This is clearable. He's like, impossible. Bet you $100. Boom. I won so many bets because he was that guy. Then Chad was the consistent guy. Then Ricky was the berserker guy. And so, I mean, watching those guys, and they came from, I say, my era, and I think they polished it up. I kind of took a hard turn there, back to saying why I think Americans were so confident. Because one is we were forced to think on our own. I rode most of the time by myself, with, chasing an announcer in my head. Go faster, go faster. You're winning the race. You're doing a cross up. You're like Joel Robert, Roger DeCosta, blah, blah. And I had to mimic the fast guys around me. But now I think everybody's looking for an answer. What do I do? Where do I go? Do I go inside? Do I go outside? Do I train 10 minutes? Well, are you tired? Is your heart rate high when you wake up in the morning? Are you dehydrated? Well, tell me. No, asshole. The information is there. You're just not following it. So for us, it was, I think, an era of unbelievably confident because we had Supercross and Motocross. And then when you go to 1986 at the Nations, we rode our bikes all the time. We didn't have works bike to race, but we had our production bikes which were phenomenal. And we also knew the geometry and the power and all the different stuff. So it helped us be those guys.
Yeah, and I think that you're right. Like just the way the world was when you grew up. And yeah, I've never really thought about the fact that you guys you had the tech developing with you. Nowadays, like for me to go and get a 450, like I can't ride that thing to its maximum ever. Like I've never maxed out my skill over a motorcycle and then needed more from
right.
Like that's such a logical way to progress.
Yeah.
Even when you play golf, like you can get real beginner friendly golf clubs and then you can go to blades.
Right.
And then you just progress as you get better and as your contact gets better. But you just dirt bike, wide open, 450. Have fun with that.
No.
Or unless you want to be a guy that goes to Parlour on a TTR 230.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Well, yeah. But see, that's the thing is that I was fortunate enough to get on a bike that I rode wide open. And my dad would say things that I hated him for it, but it made sense. I'm like, Dad, I need a pipe. I need a modified bike. He goes, well, do you let off? I'm like, yeah, I let off for the turns. He goes, well, there you go.
Yeah.
Quit letting off. I'm like, a little bit Jeannie Carmichael philosophy, just go harder. But I'm like, all right, son of a bitch. Same thing like going down a hill. He's like, well, going down a hill. I'm like, Dad, it wants to kick me over the bars. He's like, well, you're not gassing it. And it's not planting the back wheel. I'm like, but Dad, it's downhill. It wants to kick me over the bars. But what happens if you gas it harder? And so many times against my dad, I was like, I'm going to go crash just to shut your ass up. And
it didn't work. Yeah.
Fuck, every time he was right. All the way down to a jump at San Diego. There was one of those big double jumps. No one did it. He goes, you can clear it. I'm like, Dad, no one's doing it. And it was my second year of Supercross. He's like, you can clear it. I literally go, I'm going to go get hurt just to shut him up. And I'll be a son of a bitch. I cleared it. And then they knocked the jump down for everybody. They go, too dangerous. We're going to get rid of it. And it was like a 3.5 second clear the jump.
Yeah, a huge advantage.
Yeah, massive.
We, I don't know when this is coming out, but I think it'll be around the same time. But I actually went to Japan a few months ago to film one of those 100-hour videos with Joe Shimoda.
Yeah.
Dude, we're missing so much culture in our sport because of how secret Japan is.
Yeah.
Japan motocross is fucking lit.
Yeah.
Like it is that whole thing that they've got going on. It's so cool and it's so interesting. So we went to the last round at I want to say where was it? Sugo. I was thinking Suzuka. Sugo. We went to the last round. Roman Febvre was there. Then all of the Japanese factory teams, like all the works bikes. And anyway, Joe was there and we watched the race. And then we spent a week at Joe's place in Suzuka. It's crazy that the whole sport was built on the back of Japanese motorcycles. And they're just not anywhere a part of the conversation now as like a country and a manufacturer. It's just like they deliver the bikes to America. We put on Supercross and put on a show, and it's just like not even a thing.
That's what I'm saying. It's non-existent.
It's crazy.
Like you go down the street and you're thinking, I would see posters of Joe Shimoda and nothing.
No.
He walks around, no one knows who he is.
But even for like here, the whole Japanese side of the sport doesn't mean anything. And you think about Supercross could not have happened the way it happened without Japanese motorcycles. There's no way the sport is as big and as popular as it is without the Japanese investment in making 250 two-strokes and 125s.
Well, and everybody was so competitive between Honda, Yamaha, Suzuki, Kawasaki. I mean, so what I learned is, so the engineers would walk by and they would have a notepad, and they would walk by our bikes, and they would hang the notepad over. Someone would take a picture of it, and then you go to the factory. There's a full life size, so they can measure exactly what the tubes are like, exactly the wheel size, how far this is there, and then just completely reverse engineer it off a photo. And so that was very, very cool. Like when we got to go to Tushigi, the test track at Honda, and it was so nuts because we're out doing our thing, and all of a sudden sirens go off. And they're like, get underneath go into this. I'm like, what the hell's going on? And it was like some other manufacturers flying over, taking spy photos. So all the cars come off the walls, all the road racers go in there, all of us motocross guys go in there because they're click, 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 taking pictures, and then they fly off. Who knows who it was? Was it Kawasaki? Was it Yamaha? Suzuki? Who knows?
That's wild. Yeah, the sport was built off the back of an arms race between 4 Japanese manufacturers
Yep.
that just wanted to make a better motorcycle than each other. Yeah. It's a wild story when you think about it in that context.
Well, and if you go back, like I did a thing with Terry Good, he's got the Motocross Hall of Fame. And so he had the original Japanese guy, was awesome, that built, he was working at Honda for Mr. Honda, and on his own, he built the CR125. Like it was like a side project. He just goes, I'm going to just do it. And they have that original bike. But think about that. All right. The bike that changed motocross completely was one man. What was great, and this is a cool story for me. I'm not trying to blow too much smoke in my ass, but I meet him because I'm the host of the show. But he just thinks I'm the host, So when I interview him and we do everything and we go through all the stuff on the show. Well, the next day we're sitting there talking, and all of a sudden he goes, "You're Ricky Johnson." And I'm like, yeah, the same guy that interviewed you last night. And it changed because I had a very strong legacy with Honda.
Yeah.
And so I had a lot of respect from them, and obviously I gave them a bunch of respect as well. But it was pretty cool to have the original. You see what I mean?
Yeah,
I'm at the tail end of that era. Like the guys today Jett doesn't know that. Hunter doesn't know that.
Yeah.
Ricky Carmichael doesn't know that even. And look at the legacy that those guys right there, just that little group of guys that I just said, what they've done, but they really don't know the heritage.
Yeah. Yeah. And I just don't think any of us have really thought about that, and I think it's part of the Japanese culture to not be braggadocious and not be arrogant and not be like, we built Supercross, our bikes are the bikes that made this sport possible. They don't want any of the fame, they don't want any of the accolades for it. It was just such a passionate group of people that loved racing at these 4 companies, and by them competing against each other in the way that they did, and then you guys testing their bikes to a complete insane level.
Yeah.
We got given the sport of Supercross. It's just and I'd never thought about it in that context until I went to Japan and was at those races and around those guys. And it's so cool to think about the implications of those 4 companies.
Well, and when you go to a Supercross, or when you go to a test, if you go out to the Honda test track or whatever, or whichever, and you watch the engineers and watch how they're paying attention to everything. When I was helping Blake Baggett at Suzuki, now everything we can go down all the list of what's happening, the temperatures, the clutch use, the friction, all the different stuff. And Blake was riding a 450 like a 250. I'm like, 13% clutch almost the whole time. He's using the clutch to hold him back rather than to let it go.
Yeah.
And so with coaching him, I'm like, just let's ride no clutch. And boom, picks up his roll speed, helps him out, because he was weighing, maybe $150 at the most?
Yeah.
On a 450 fuel injected, you don't need clutch. You really don't. And that's, now you fast forward, you watch Jett Lawrence, and that's basically what he's doing. He's riding an electric bike. He's always in the right power band.
I didn't know that you worked with Baggett when he was on the 450.
I worked with Tortelli. So obviously I worked with Roger very close. We could get
DaCosta.
Yeah, DaCosta. We could get into that's a whole other story. But when Tortelli came over, he was really, Sebastian was really good, really strong, but he needed coaching. He had Jackie Vimone, which helped him a lot. He was in a university
a program.
A complete program. So he was always structured. He had a mental coach. He had Jackie Vimon, the French Federation paid for him. So when he got here, I think he was lost a little bit and then really didn't know Supercross that well. So Roger goes, hey, will you come help Sebastian? So I started helping Sebastian. Then I became the riding coach for Sean Hamlin and Brock Kepler and a bunch of different guys. But I focused on Sebastian at first. And I was really proud of it because I could take all the stuff that I've learned because I'm still a student of the game. Like people, I think, look at me like, oh, you raced in the 80s, but I'm still racing trucks. I'm still developing trucks. I'm still doing everything that I do. And so when I watch, because of my reading deficit and because, I think, honestly, I'm not trying to poke too much fun at myself, but I think I'm partly autistic because I see the world in pictures and I can see it and I can feel it, but I can't write it. Like literally, I see words, like I can read, I can read your drink and I can read your shirt, blah, blah, and I can do that. But once you give me a page, I get lost. And then I get lost in the words that don't have a picture to it. So like what, when, where, what, blah, blah. But, I was listening to this lady who's a professor but she's massively autistic. They called her retard when she was little and all the different stuff made fun of her and everything. But then she went to school and she learned that she has to see the world in pictures. Now she's this great engineer, does all this stuff. Same thing with Jackie Stewart. He could barely read. He says he's dyslexic, so that he sees backwards. Well, that goes back and forth. But the truth of the matter is what Jackie Stewart did for racing and teaching and all the different stuff and the ball on the hood for control and braking and all the stuff that he developed is because he sees it in all the different things. So for me, I don't know, I kind of lost my train of thought there, was that I was able to communicate with engineers and that. So when it came to working with Tortelli, I could see it, and I'm like, okay, here's what you're doing, here's where you're looking. I can watch people, and I could go, you're looking down, you're doing this, you're doing that, and I can help. I know I can help the top guys. He never said it, but I helped Cooper Webb last year. Remember the one race where he was faster than Chase through the whoops?
Where was that?
It was. Was it Pittsburgh?
Yeah.
Okay, so he was struggling, and he's coming in, and so I just and Coop is the one guy that will text me back because I had number 2 for a while and stuff like that. So I congratulated him and this, that. Everybody else doesn't know I exist, like literally, and that's okay. They're doing their thing and all the different stuff, but Coop's always the one, and I'm like, man, I want to see him go. I want to see him do this, and he struggles in the whoops. That was his kryptonite. So I said, Coop, where are you looking? What's your plan? Well, I try to get to the 5th one. And then from there, I try to get up on top and go. I go, you're losing it. What you got to do is come around the corner, be smooth out of the corner, start rolling on the gas. Don't worry about your speed entering because people try to hit too hard and get up to speed, and then their speed plateaus, and then they get in the middle, and then they're either pushing the back in or they drop the front or whatever. I said, if you enter at 10 or you enter at 100, you leave at 110 or you leave at 20. You see what I mean? You have to continue the speed, and that's where Chad was beautiful. Like he'd come and just go right across. And so for me, back when I was doing it, I would don't look down. I had 3 strands of barbed wire. At the end of my thing, I'm like, if I can make it 3/4 of the way and I get bucked off, I can get out of them and not crash. Or if I swap out, I can hit the berm and jump into the field.
Yeah.
But I'm like, don't look down, don't look down, don't look down, look up. So what I told Coop was, when you come in, find something at the end. So what I did for Tortelli and for Blake was I would wear a bright red sweatshirt and I would stand on top of the berm, not down low, on top of the berm. And I said, when you come in, you find your entry point, and then you find me. And I'm like this. I'm waving my arms. I go, and just don't look down. It's scarier than shit. Trust me. I know because I used to do it every day. But if you don't look down, you're going to go right across the tops. The other thing I would do is I say, get off the bike. So if you look at the whoops, you see these edges, but if they're like this, but now if you look at them here, that's what your bike sees. Your bike doesn't see that 5th one that's got a cup on it or all the different stuff. So you get into a strong position.
Change your perspective.
Yeah. Your arms 80% straight. So you're in a strong position here. And then you bring your knee forward so that you're not pounding the back, and you make sure that you're not revving the bike. And so when it comes to it, that's what I did with Blake and also Tortelli. And the one thing I did for Ricky was all I told him to do was let off the gas a little bit. If you're going to loops that's going pop, 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 it's not grabbing anything. If it sounds fast, it's the same way when we're driving the trucks now. I want to be just off the gas so I hear that little bit of bog translates to traction. So that's what I told Coop was, look at the end, come in, and don't try to get over that. Try to hit everyone front and rear all the way through. And I was so stoked because I literally am watching the Supercross. I pull up his times. He was faster than Chase through that section because that was his kryptonite. Yeah. Because he's a little guy. He doesn't have the leverage, and Chase is a stud, But it does help. So anyways, the point that I'm getting at was Roger had me come help Sebastian. And he did great, but he ended up getting hurt. Can't control that. And Blake went from struggling to make mains, going to the last chance and stuff, to top 5. So I've because I've been blessed with guys like Dave Arnold and Cliff Lett and Bob Oliver and Keith McCarty and Roger DeCoster and stuff, the guys that were willing to help me, I enjoy helping those guys.
So how did your relationship with Roger start?
So I consider one of my big mistakes was Roger courted me after 82, and I wanted to stay loyal to Yamaha, and I stayed with Yamaha. In 83, that works bike was terrible, and they hired Hannah, and Hannah whipped my ass like I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do. He's 5 seconds a lap faster than me. Like at Saddleback, we had that big monster. If you see photos of it, it was like a 3 second hang time, fourth gear wide open to clear this thing. He wouldn't jump it. He was still 2 seconds a lap faster than me.
Wow.
And he just rode away from me. And then I got hurt a bunch that year and stuff like that. But I didn't go to Honda.
Why was that? Why do you think you were so much faster that year?
The bikes were unreal.
Just the bikes.
That 83 CR. With they had the fuel pump and the low tank, and the crazy part was I rode it, and I thought, I don't want to leave Yamaha because Brock was loyal and stuff like that. So I didn't go. But Roger then came back to me at the end of 85 and said, "Hey, are you interested?" Because remember, Ronnie got fired. He got caught taking weed to Japan. So the president of Honda brought him his contract, put him back on the plane, sent him home. I was supposed to go sign with Yamaha that day, because I was supposed to ride with Kawasaki, but they hired Ronnie instead of me. So I was like, well, I guess I'm going to ride for Yamaha again. So I was getting ready to go up to sign the contract that day. Roger said, would you consider riding for us? I said, I want to ride the bike. So I went and met him. We adjusted the handlebars, the ride height, and I'm like, even though I knew I wasn't going to get that works bike because we went to production bikes, I'm like, this suspension, the way it goes up and down, and the way the tire follows the ground, I'm like, I'm in. So I took $100,000 less. I think I signed for $150,000, but I had great bonuses, and so then from there, I think I had the best of both worlds, Dave and Roger, because Roger, I had so much I have so much respect for him as a champion and what he's done, but then how he developed Suzuki's, then came to Honda, and that's when the motocross thing changed. Everything from that front link, they tried all the different crazy stuff. And Roger, I think, was a big driving force. And so it was great because Roger had no ego. He would put goggles under his shirt. He didn't come to me like, I am the man. I'm, 5-time world champion, blah, blah, blah. It was, I'm here to make you better. And I'd be like, I need to find a line in the back of the track. He would run in practice, and he would go, okay, Wardy's going here, Lachine's going there, Bailey's going here, blah, blah, blah. It didn't matter. And having that kind of just, I'll give you whatever you need to win, was why Honda kicked so much ass, because none of us felt deprived. Johnny, David, or myself, and Mickey was there, and all the different stuff. And imagine managing the top 3 guys. But none of us were like, well, you went to Johnny's truck first, or blah, blah. They managed, us crazy, little idiots so well, and made us feel like we were all number one.
That's such a cool time period at Factory Honda. Like, that period kind of shaped the image of Factory Honda that we still have now. No matter who rides for Factory Honda, it's still Factory Honda.
Yeah, I think they got a little arrogant, and got comfortable, which everybody does, but I don't think they're there anymore. And I also don't think they have the riders to give them the information that they need. You know, when I met Jett the first time, I think he was 18. We're at Paula, and I saw Johnny, and once again, he didn't know who I was, but I just wanted to go, I'm a fan. If you were older than me or younger than me, I appreciate greatness. I really do. And so I was watching him. I'm like, God, this kid's got the right amount of everything. He's not afraid to bulldog it through the whoops, you know, jump far if he needs to, but just the smoothness in the corner. So I told him, and I said, hey, I really appreciate how you're doing, because like back in our days, O'Mara was very, very soft suspension, very, you know, I couldn't ride his bike, and I was more of a hammerhead. I hit stuff hard. I said, I watch you. I think you have the right combination of everything. He goes, yeah. I was riding Trey's bike today, and I can't quite feel the front wheel like I like. So I like my setting. It's a little bit softer. And I'm thinking, holy shit, the world's in trouble. Because if an 18-year-old kid is telling me what a front wheel is doing, and that's what they literally tell you greatness is when a guy can read the front wheel. A road racer, when he's starting to lose the front wheel, Rossi and, you know, Mark Marquez and all the guys, you watch them, they'll lose the front wheel all day long. But you know, you rode. You grab that front wheel, shit, you hit that, it feels just like that. That thing jumps out from underneath you, it scares the shit out of you. But when you get comfortable knowing the front wheel like that, and I said to Johnny and Trey, the world's in trouble. Because at 18, I was 22 years old when I started figuring out what he's figuring out. And I'm still figuring it out with trucks and trophy trucks and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But he just, in the way he's talking, he's not looking at me. He's going, yeah, I'm coming through there, and I can't quite read the front. I'm like, holy shit.
Yeah.
The world's in trouble.
And they were.
And they are.
It's crazy. Man, it's such a bummer to see him get hurt. Fuck. I thought about that all day. I just couldn't. I was like, man, we just got robbed again of just seeing greatness. Like, it's so rare to. You think about when Tiger Woods kept getting injured. He was still Tiger Woods when he first started having all of those injuries. And then it's like he just, at some point, just, that was it. Like he was never the Tiger Woods that he was in 2000 again, you know, with all the injuries that he had. And it's like...
Okay, see, that doesn't move at all.
Oh.
I understand it.
Yeah.
It happens. But this isn't a career-ending injury.
No, I know, but you just...
But you don't want to see it.
But you just get robbed of watching Tiger Woods in 2000. Like over and over and over. Like, because that's what, when Jett rides, that's what it is. Like 2000 Tiger Woods.
Well, same thing. We lost Muhammad Ali because he wouldn't go in the Army.
Yeah.
And his best years, he sat out.
Yeah.
But that's part of your legacy. And that's the part, if you don't embrace the shit that happens in your life and you go, okay, what can I do to make it better? Where I screwed up a bunch. I mean, literally, my hand is set over to the side of my head. Danny Storbeck and I came together. Not his fault. It just was a shit happens. And I look down and my arm bones are up in my hand and my hand's over to the side. And I'm just like, fuck, this isn't good. This is not good. Like I've had injuries, but I'm like, that looks bad, you know? But the truth be told, Jeff Stanton rode me back to the truck. Doc Metzger injected me with a little bit of Novocaine. Got on the road, going to the hospital. I'm going, okay, Supercross is done. That was the first national. 250 nationals are done. I have to win the 500 national. I'm not even thinking about what's my hands. I have to win the 500 championship. And that's the way I grew up. You know, my dad kind of had the philosophy, 1 week off, you're 3 weeks behind, which that's bullshit. You know, Trey Kennard is a perfect example. How many like career-ending injuries, and he would come back and was right there. So that's the thing. You know, I called Lars when I heard that Jett got hurt. I said, please let me talk to him. Because not many people know what it's like to be the guy. You know, to be the guy. To be the number one guy that, you know, yeah, there's people that can beat you on days and stuff like that. But when you're there, everyone's like, hope something happens to him. Hope he gets a bad start or whatever. But then all of a sudden you realize, oh no, I'm losing my dream. He's not losing his dream. He just needs to. And I think he's got a good attitude. I'm listening. I'm watching him mess around with Instagram more. And so that makes me feel good because I don't want to see who I feel is one of the greatest talents to ever throw a leg over a bike, fuck it up and come back too soon.
Yeah, because, I mean, it really is like watching just the best guy in their prime when he's on the track. And that's not to take anything away from the other guys.
No.
And other guys beat him as well. So it's like we still have amazing talent, but he is an outlier. Like, he's just done perfect season, rookie season outdoors, first Supercross championship, never lost a SMX playoff. Like, he is unbelievable. And yeah, I think the sport is at its... This is me talking through my own lived experience. Like, I never lived through your, like the years.
I'm not offended. Say what you think.
But it's like, for me, at least from my perspective and what I've lived through, this is like, we're almost entering a new peak of Supercross.
It's the pinnacle, for
in
sure.
terms of popularity. And I mean, but again, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe the ESPN Speed 2000s were more people watched. But I don't know. I just feel like the last 5 years, the sport has just gotten so much bigger. And it's like, we got Jett, we're about to have Deegan in the 450s, and you've got all these great guys that are still like, it's just the perfect storm for the sport. And then the main guy gets hurt.
Well, so you're absolutely right. I think the sport's at the highest it's been. For one, the knowledge that they have on training. We just got heart rate monitors. I didn't know what anaerobic was. I just knew I was going to die, and my philosophy was, well, just, I have to learn how to not die, but stay at that don't die level. And then now you look at all the different stuff between having doctors there, Dr. G, surgeries, broken collarbone, mine's lapped out, they didn't plate them back then. If they would have plated my collarbone, I would have been ready to go. In 6 weeks, I'm racing, things killing me. It's still flexing. It's still doing this. So medical technology has come a long way. Bike technology has come a long way. And I think what's making it so close is because you have, in our generation, we did have power valves, but we had carburetors. You kind of had to pick where you wanted your power to be. I had a HRC pipe that I ran outdoors in Daytona, but a pro circuit pipe that I ran in all the Supercrosses because I wanted it to roll on smooth like a Yamaha. So now they all are fuel injected. They can make them right where they are.
Yeah, every bike's
they
sick.
respond. And then tire technology is better too. But notice you see a lot really good guys low side because the performance goes up and then it comes down. When we were going, the performance was more like this, so you could ride it more on the edge, but you didn't have that peak traction. And so that's what I think is making the bikes and the riders so close. You look at lap times, you look at this, did a guy, pass a lapper in qualifying? Now he's third, not first, and the technology is right there, and the riders are committed, and they all got trainers, and they're all working hard, and they got their ranches, and they got their places that they go to, and it's much more sophisticated. We thought it was big because Brock Glover and I had a track in San Diego. David Bailey had a track there. Honda had a track up there. Kawasaki built a track in Corona, and those were just the beginnings because we used to race the Golden State Series the week before Anaheim. A dried, hacked out Carlsbad Raceway. But that's what we did, And so it was different so that the level was kind of up and down. But right now you see so many guys that are so good. And they're also, and because of that technology, they're racing longer.
I want to say a massive congratulations to the team at Fist Handwear because starting right now, Fist is proud to be officially distributed in the US through a partnership with Parts Unlimited, bringing their gloves to riders all across the US. That means it is easier than ever to get your hands in a pair, no matter where you are. I've been banging on about how amazing Fist gloves are for the last 10 years, and now it's easier than ever for US riders to get a pair of their own. If you've heard me talk about them on the podcast before, but never tried a pair of your own, now there's no excuse. No matter what you ride, motocross, BMX, road, or even on the job, Fist has a glove designed for every condition, from blazing heat to icy cold. Apart from being the best performing gloves in the world, they also have a design for any flavor, from wild prints and bold graphics to collabs with some of the world's best athletes. And it doesn't just stop at gloves. Fist has moto socks, tees, hoodies, and hats, the full kit and caboodle.
I've trusted Fist for over a decade and I don't plan on changing. Do yourself a favor, join the Fist Army today at fisthandwear.co or head in to your local dealer and tell them that they need to start stocking Fist.
Like racing into your 30s was almost unheard of back when we raced.
What year did you retire? Or how old
91. I was 25. If you look at the stats, I was just going. Like if you look at,
That's nuts, bro.
no, I know.
25.
I was just starting.
Still a child.
Yeah.
And was it just because of injuries?
Yeah. So broken, dislocated my wrist, came back too soon. Was able to got hurt, separated some ribs, got knocked out at Millville on the 500, struggled that year. My hand was never the same. Like it hurt
Well, look
constantly.
at it now.
Yeah. Well, it's fused now. It's plated. So I got a plate in there because I got to a point where I was racing trucks. I couldn't hold the steering wheel. And so that's when the guy said, you get about 20 years, and I had a partial fusion. I could move about that much. But now I just got a plate. So it goes this way, and I got this, but I have nothing up and down. But it doesn't hurt. I mean, when I tell stories, it looks funny because I don't do this. You know, it's like,
Yeah.
So I don't realize it until I see a picture of me or doing
How much
something.
did it affect your life?
A lot. You change from right hand to left hand.
Even riding and shit?
Oh, fuck. Riding now. So I do adventure bike schools and I train military and stuff like that. So I can ride, but I twist the throttle like that. Like literally. So I have to hold on really tight with this hand. And then I twist the throttle here because my hand will go off. And that's why I don't do moto anymore. People go, come on, just let's go to the track.
Yeah,
like you don't understand how much further you are forward. And so I have to constantly ride back. And so that's why I'm on an adventure bike or whatever. I'm cool.
Yeah.
Cruising around there, no problem. But as soon as I get on a motor track, I need to get forward. I can't gas it.
Have you ever tried a thumb throttle?
Had this conversation every day. So the problem is that I'm working with a French guy who made a thumb throttle that just that there. But the problem is I need the whole assembly to go up and down. So when I come forward, my brake goes down. So look how straight up and down it is.
Yeah.
And then when I come back, because otherwise you're like this, you know, you fluctuate and you move. So if I have it like this, now I'm like that. So Honda, we tried a thumb throttle. They were going to make me a left throttle. I said, let's try it. Let's put everything, swap it over. And they're like, we can't. So I retired. But
That's insane. Yeah, I never knew that.
yeah.
Fuck, 25 years old. Fully in your prime.
Yep. Won the first 5, got second to Stanton in Atlanta. And then I think I won the first 5 or 6. I can't remember. And then went to Gainesville. We had the opening national before Daytona. And me and Danny Sorbeck came together, and his wheel hit my elbow, and it shoved my arm under my hand. And so I put my hand back here. So from that point, started surgeries. And then I got an infection. I pulled the pins out too soon, started riding too soon. I'm like, I got to get on the bike. I mean, I couldn't hold a damn glass, but I'm like, get me on a bike. You know, and then I started hammering NSAIDs, you know, the anti-inflammatories and stuff, and my guts were bleeding. You know, my guts were fucked up, and I'm bleeding at my ass. I'm like, what the hell's going on? I got a problem here, you know? And I'm killing myself, but I just don't know it because I'm like, I could ride a 30-minute moto. My hand doesn't let go, you know? And so then it just got to a point where when I thought the throttle stuck twice, it wasn't. It was my hand letting go and regripping. And I just said, I'm done.
Fuck. That is crazy, dude.
Yeah.
So what do you like? Where do you go from there?
Very dark, to be honest with you.
I bet.
So the good news for me and the blessing that is my life, you know, if you go to, you know, Road to Recovery, I went through some dark times, you know, considered smoking myself, you know, but my faith says if you kill yourself, you go directly to hell. So there was that. And then I had a vision that my mom was going to find me. And I'm like, I can't do that to her. I can't. That, you know, I don't want to be here anymore, but she's going to be the one to find me. I just know it. And I'm going to ruin her life, she's my mom.
And it does, man. Like, that's the one thing that it's so crazy when you watch what happened. I had one of my best friends when I was in primary school, in high school, he killed himself and his sister found him, fucked her life.
Oh, ruins them.
Like, it's just wild to watch that happen, eh?
Well, and everybody involved.
Yeah.
Oh, your dad died. Oh, your dad killed himself. Your brother killed himself. Your kid killed himself. Blah blah blah. And then all your friends like, God, why? I was going to call him that day. Yeah. You know, it's my fault. Everybody's left with that burden. So anyhow, so with me when I quit, I'm like, I can't. I got to jump right in. So I went to Chevrolet, and Danny Thompson gave me a test. I tested the Toyota, and I jumped right into stadium trucks. And so I'm like, okay, here I go. And so my plan was to kind of follow Robbie Gordon, start off with the stadium trucks, because I thought, well, they'll give me a shot because I'm a motocross guy, but I want to race GTP or IndyCar or NASCAR. That was my goal. So jumped into stadium trucks, Chevrolet John Nelson. We did good. We won some races, never won that. Jimmie Johnson, who, the NASCAR, his dad was my mechanic when I was a little kid. And I sponsored Jimmie, and I've known Jimmie since he was born. Like literally, I met him I met Kathy, his mom, when she was pregnant with Jimmie. So I've known Jimmie his whole life. And as I said, I was an 18-year-old rider. He was 8. I bought him YZ 65s and 80s and stuff like that. That's so cool. And then when he was running what they call Super Light, and I was racing that, and the Chevy wanted to move to a 2-truck team, I said, let's give Jimmie a shot. I mean, he's a great student. The kid will do anything I say. I got this story I tell about him jumping a big double jump when he was on a 60, and so I'll do a little sidebar, tell you that story. It's a pretty good one. So Jimmie would do anything I said because I was like his big brother. And so I'm like, he's getting beat by this one kid, the first moto, he's second. Like, God damn it, if he clears this jump, he can do it. It was long. I mean, it was like 45, 50 foot, big rollers. And I said, Jimmie, so I took him out there. I'm like, if you come over this, don't jump too hard over the finish line, but get a good run, grab third gear, hold it completely wide open, do not let off, just wide open, and you'll clear it perfectly. And it's like, okay. I'm like, tell me what I said. This is a friggin' 8-year-old kid.
Yeah.
Right? Comes around. And so I'm there with his dad, Gary, who was my mechanic, goes, what the fuck did you tell him to do? I'm like, just watch this, man. This is going to be great. He's like, you're going to kill my kid, And I'm like, well, not so funny when you used to tell me to do all this shit when I was a kid.
Yeah.
Anyhow, so Jimmie comes around, grabs third gear, nails it. I mean, perfect. Passes the guy, lands on the downside, and then just goes off the track and crashes. I'm like, what the hell? So I go over, I pick him up, like, come on, go. Gary's yelling at me, smacking me in the back of the head. I get him, and he gets second again. He comes in, and Gary's yelling at me, don't you ever tell him blah, blah, all this stuff. So I go, Jimmie, what happened? He goes, I have my eyes closed. I go, what? He goes, I had my eyes closed. I was so scared. I go, why'd you do it? He goes, because you told me I could. And that's a true story.
That's crazy.
So he greased it perfectly, but
had his eyes closed right off the track.
Went off the track. So when I knew that kind of commitment, I'm like, let's get him in a truck. And sure enough, he did great in trucks. Then he went, obviously, 7-time Winston Cup champion, or not Winston Cup, but NASCAR.
Yeah.
Cup champion. And that's so very cool little story.
That's awesome. And so you knew that you would have to go into some form of racing after that.
Yeah. So I said,
keep your sanity, basically.
Yeah. I come from El Cajon, very strong white trash, partying, drinking beer, smoking weed, doing all their other stuff and things like that. So really, really, really easy to get into trouble. Yeah. I mean, I didn't have to look for it. It would just find me.
Yeah.
We go down to 2nd Street and you go get fights over there. You go meet girls over there. You go, whatever. It was
rough and tumble.
Rough and tumble. That's the way it was. So but I loved racing, and that was what I identified with. Going back to, I was the dumb kid in school, and I wasn't the biggest, I wasn't the toughest, but I was fast. I was always fast, and I was willing to race anybody. Didn't matter if I was 9, you were on a 250, I'll race you. You know what I mean? I didn't think I was a tough guy, but I'll race. I like going fast, and it felt good to go fast. So when I could get into a truck and I could put my energy forward and just drive as hard as I could, it made me feel like I was 20 years old again on a motorcycle. I'm strong. I'm coming into myself. So getting into stadium trucks worked, and then into the short course, I was raced for Red Bull. We won some championships in Pro 2 and Pro 4, and then had a lull. Everything kind of comes and goes. And then now racing trophy trucks and trophy truck legend class, which is the older guys. And so Gus Villadosa, who I raced for, is 72 years old. He's won the Baja 1000 overall with his son Tavo, and he's like, you and me are going to be teammates. So I qualify, I start the race, and we've won 16 races in a row, and we're top 10 a lot of the time. We were 12th in the 1,000 this year, but we had a couple of issues like everybody else. And I'm still racing. So I have a motivation to, I quit drinking and stuff like that, because I'm like, I want to stay as much of an athlete as I am. I'm not, obviously didn't get hair plugs and, liposuction and eye lifts and shit like that, but I'm going to do what I can to stay around as long as I can. So I'm doing it.
Yeah, you're in good shape.
Yeah, I'm hanging in there. So I've had both my knees replaced, which I feel fantastic. Dr. Alexander, who's the medic, one of the docs for their old school, said.
How do you go adventure riding with the knee replacements?
They don't bother me at all. In fact, I'm getting ready to go surf. That's been my goal. I still have my surfboards. Not that I was never a good surfer, but I love that feeling.
Oh, it's just the process.
A wave picking you up.
Yeah.
Lifting you forward and then riding that energy. I love it. And
the whole process of like getting to the beach, waxing your board, putting on your wetty, just then the feeling after it. I mean, no better feeling.
When I get home, I'm sit there on the couch and I feel that lift and lift and go, lift and go, lift and go. So I wasn't able to do it with my knees the way they were, but now I can do a full squat. I can't sit on my feet, but I can do a full squat. Like if I was in a bathroom in Japan, I can fully squat. So my goal for 26 is to start surfing again.
How bad was that recovery?
It hurt, and you have to, but it's every day. The thing that I hear, I have my therapy on Thursday. No, every day I'm pushing on it, pulling on it, heat, ice, stretching, doing this. And still to this day, I still do, and it's been a year, just over a year on my right one, and my recovery is great. And what's crazy is that my right knee had a cadaver ACL, PCL, and so I couldn't straighten it, no matter what I did. So that messed up my gait.
Your hip and your back. Yeah.
And now I barely have back or neck pain, because I can stand up straight. And now I focus on it. Like even my toes were starting to like do weird things, and now they're starting to fan back out. And so I stand up and I'm like focus on standing up straight and not,
Do you have like a daily kind of workout thing that you follow?
Yeah.
Or?
Yeah. So I'm doing more like I try everything. I don't run because I don't have the bone to bone touching anymore. Oops, sorry. Let me end that call. What Dr. Alexander told me is because you're metal to metal, you don't have that bone to bone. So it doesn't, your body doesn't read the same. So I can kind of jog a little bit, but I'm just off a little bit. But so what I use is a mini tramp. And so I bounce on that and I do so much of that. Then I do rowing, then I do my aerodyne, then I get into my sauna, and then I'll do longer bicycles. I got the guys from Santa Cruz, I bought an e-bike.
Yeah.
But I don't put it on full turbo all the time. So I make sure that I'm breathing through my nose, running right about 120, 130.
Yeah.
Because that's when I race, since I started working with Coach Rob, I see you got the Garmin on.
Yeah.
This thing's unbelievable.
It's so good, dude. Yeah.
My sleep is terrible.
Yeah.
So I was burning way more calories than I thought. I'm burning 4,000 calories pre-running, about 8,000 racing in a day. And so anyhow, with all the different stuff, I just keeping myself fit. But I don't post it like Wardy's out there hammering big miles, and I'm like, I'm too vain because I don't want someone to judge me.
Yeah. You
know what I mean? Because you know what I'll do? I'll get on an e-bike, say I was on my road bike, and keep it at a really, really strong speed just to shut people up. But I want to stay fit to, that my wife wants to look at me and I want to feel.
Yeah.
I want to feel good. That's all.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not a model anymore. I'm 61. I don't care if someone's attracted to me or not. I feel good. That's my point.
How old are you now?
I'm 61.
61. Yeah. 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 That's, dude, great shape. 61. Yeah. I think that's like, it's funny because I'm 37, I think. And I can't remember.
You're too busy.
Yeah. And yeah, now I'm thinking about that shit. I was like, all right, I need to, I'm like pretty active and I still train a lot. Like I'm lucky that I do a sport that is very physical, that is fun.
Jiu-jitsu, I heard?
Yeah, like just doesn't feel
we
like.
have to go roll sometime. I started doing it.
Really?
I started doing it.
How long ago?
I started doing it in '87.
No shit.
Yeah. Well, first, I wanted to learn how to fight because I was afraid Daryl Schultz was going to kick the shit out of me, and I hid. It's a true story. Like Schultz was tough, and he's a big guy. You look him up, and him and his brother weren't afraid to go fisticuffs. And so it was like, I don't want to go to the semi. Sorry, Daryl.
Unprepared.
Fucking nailed him.
Yeah.
I nailed him, and he's coming at me. He's trying to get at me. The checkered flag fell. I think it went faster from the checkered flag to my truck. It was in Seattle. I threw the bike on the thing, and I ran under the grandstands. True story. And I'm like, you puss, come on, get out. I'm like, but he'll kick your ass. Just stay right here. So I had the devil and the angel. And I go, no, just go out there and take your beating. And so from that point on, I started learning how to fight because I'm like, I'm never going to let someone worrying about someone whipping my ass. Not that I can kick everyone's ass, but I won't run from a fight if somebody wants to fight because we're racing hard.
Yeah.
I started immediately there, and I started with Taekwondo, which I'm like, this is a sport. This isn't real fighting. Yeah. Then I started doing jiu-jitsu and then boxing and stuff like that because I recommended it for guys, young guys that I work with, like Jason Anderson and some of the kids that were just a little passive. Yeah. I'm like, go put your hands on somebody. Yeah. And you don't have to be a tough guy, but when you have that, I'll survive because I can last. You know, even if you're a black belt, I can last with you for a long time. Now, am I going to submit you? Yeah. No, but I can keep you from, breaking my arm, and I'm smart enough to survive it. Yeah. And so that's what I did, and it's so good for you. It's so good for you. Just like I said, to go into a room with a bunch of dudes, like I would fight with cops and stuff with Chris Brennan, and he would just go wrestle with him. And I get this big blockheaded cop and stuff that try to rip my head off, but it was. You just have this sense of
it's a different.
I'm okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then,
it's it's definitely like a different feeling because I mean I'm not looking for any trouble with anybody. You know what I mean?
I'm the same way.
But it's like there is definitely, and even it's just like you treat confrontation differently with people.
Yeah.
Where it's like, I'm okay to just physically walk up to a guy one-on-one and say what I need to say to that person.
Right.
With zero fear. Unless it's like fucking some gigantic dude or whatever.
Then
but
you
can just stand your ground and you just say like, hey, this is how I feel. This is what I think. And there's a layer of confidence that you have. There's like no self-doubt in your mind. Like it's a very crazy feeling. But I think at least from like the physical side, it's very tough physically, like to train a lot. Like I get extremely sore. Like I'm always, my hips are sore, my back's sore. Like it's just very hard on your joints. But it's cool to have something that you do that keeps you in a like very good shape. But it feels fun. It doesn't feel like I'm just burning road miles or doing 3 hours. Like to me, that stuff has never been that fun. I'd ride every day if I could, and I'm sure that would be similar. But it's like, you go train, you do an hour, you train 4 times a week. That's probably like, it's 5,000, 6,000, 7,000 calories in a week that you're burning just by doing a fun thing.
So you'll identify with this. That's exactly what a rider's doing.
Yeah.
He's in a jiu-jitsu match with his motorcycle.
Yeah.
How I need to be aggressive because I got to win. But if I get too aggressive and I expose an arm, I expose my head, I expose a leg, it's gonna bite me. Yeah. So you're constantly playing this. I gotta go, but don't be stupid. I gotta go, but don't be stupid. You know what I mean? And so that's how I identified with it. You know, and I'm like, this puts me in the same mental space. I'm with a guy. I don't know what he's going to do. I have an idea what he's going to do, but as soon as you touch him, everything changes. Yeah. Oh, he's trying to go for an arm. Oh, he wants to take me down. You know what I mean? You can read. But I love it, and I think more people need to do it.
When was the last time you trained? Like, do you still train much, or?
I haven't trained in a long time because of my knees. Because when you sit on a mat, you basically sit on your feet and then you start rolling into it.
I can't do that. Yeah, like that's my knees are so bad that I can't touch my heels to my.
So you got to start. You got to start on your knees.
I just literally start on my back.
Yeah.
Yeah, or I wrestle, but I mean, I don't really like.
Yeah, because somebody pushes you back. It's like. Yeah.
No, my knee, like if someone's in if I'm in someone's closed guard, dude, it's the most pain. Like my knees are fucked. So. Yeah. But I think it's just like a genetic thing. My dad's.
You'll get them replaced in a couple years.
Yeah, that's why I asked because my dad's got to get his replaced.
Get them done. When he does it, it's gonna suck.
Yeah.
The recovery's gonna hurt. You know, stay on the pain meds for 2 weeks and then get off of them and then. Just every day. Have them call me. I got an unbelievable routine. I'm going to be coaching Pingree. I've helped.
He's got to do his.
He's going to do his, yeah.
All of us, we're all fucked, dude. if you're listening to this podcast, you're probably fucked. You're probably getting a knee replacement. You're probably fucked. Listen to RJ, he knows what's up.
But you're gonna when it's after you do it and you keep doing the work, not crazy work, but you do the work. You're like, oh my God, I feel so much better. Like everybody I know says, I should have done it earlier.
Yeah, and
even at my age where I'm at, I've got stuff starting to hurt. You just got to do shit every single day.
Yeah, keep moving.
So when you were growing up, did you know that being a pro motocross rider could be a career?
Yes, because I was surrounded by, starting with Marty Tripes.
Yeah.
What did Marty Tripes do? A little quiz for you.
Fucks me.
He was the first to win a Supercross. He won the very first Supercross at the LA Coliseum at the age of 16.
Yep.
So Marty lived in Santee. I knew his brother Mike and Mitchell. Mitchell was like the foosball ace. Like he could kick everyone's ass in East County. But Marty was a factory Honda guy. Then Marty Smith was there. So when I was 9 years old, Marty Smith got his first Honda ride, and he was at the races and stuff. And then my dad built a bike for Brock when he wanted him to race against Jeff Warren, Brian Myerscough and stuff. Took my sister's 100, made it a small wheeled 100, and then Brock became a factory rider. So I was like, and I'm watching Brock's got, Brock and Marty have Porsches, and they got bitchin' vans and dune buggies and houses and all this crazy stuff. And I'm like, that's what I'm going to do. And so I was able to see them and have role models that were great to me too. Like Brock took me everywhere, his mechanic used to tease him, goes, you're cutting your own throat here. This kid's gonna grow up sometime. You're gonna be fighting for the same dollar. And we did, but Brock was always good to me. I was with him when he won his first championship, let Brock by. I was down there that week with him, riding a bicycle while he ran in San Antonio in the heat and stuff. And then we were teammates together and then so on and so on. But yeah, I knew that was my thing. I'm gonna be there was no plan B.
You're very blessed in the era that you grew up, like just where you grew up, the era that you grew up. It was kind of almost written for you that you could do it if you applied yourself to it.
Where we lived, so what's crazy was Ron Turner and Brock were sponsored by a guy in a place called Hippie Hollow. It kind of reminded me of the Charles Manson thing, people with long hair, and the weed and all the crazy stuff. But Jack, the guy who sponsored him, was counterfeiting money and sponsoring Brock and this guy.
No shit.
Yeah, straight up. And so they did the Snake River Canyon race and stuff. And but I had that track, had Hippie Hollow, we had Gage's track, we had so from my house I had like 8 to 10 tracks, a dairy, and then also in the late 70s is when the housing crash took a shit. So there's a bunch of housing developments. There's Supercross. We're jumping from one house lot to another, or jumping the corners and doing that. And actually, that's where scrubbing kind of started. If I could jump this and get the bike sideways, I could stay lower and come down and stuff like that. So yeah, you're absolutely right. I was destined. It was mine to fuck up.
Yeah. It's not like it was given to you or handed to you, but there was a clear path.
Oh,
and in an era where that wasn't normal, like you were maybe the first kind of era to be a kid that grew up and was like, I want to be a professional motocross rider. That's an actual career that you can have.
Well, if you looked at El Cajon, at one time we had, I think, 5 of the top 10 guys in the world. You had Scott Burnworth, Ron Lachine, you had Brock, myself, you had Clint Hardick, who was one of the top, he wasn't a top 10, but he was a top Suzuki support rider. Then you have Marty Smith, Marty Tripes, Tommy Croft. Bill Silverthorne was the OG desert racer for Honda. Then Don Vesco set the land speed record. And then a guy that taught me named Murray Hoffman, he was, if you find an old GT, a Yamaha YZ, first YZ model, is a picture of him. So you had all these people that were in the sport was growing. And to me, it's like, I get to ride motorcycles. That was the biggest thing. And I think if you look at Ricky, and I think even if you said to Jett, yeah, he's got Bentleys, he's got all this crazy shit. If you said you had to do it for free, he'd still ride. God bless him that he's making that kind of money and he'll never have to worry about money unless he does something really, really, really stupid with it. But, he's set. He's generational wealth at this point. You know what I mean? Which that is awesome. But the idea back then was, my thing, if I could make enough money to buy a truck to start a business and start a construction company and this and that, I'm going to be set. And the next thing you know, Honda puts out $100,000 for a win, but the guys were really low salaries. And then all the riders went to Yamaha. Everybody went to everybody else, and that kept jacking the money up. And now all of a sudden you're like, well, if I can make $1 million, and then I can put it into bonds, which you could back then, and you can get 20% on your stuff. You just keep that shit rolling, keep that 20% rolling, and you're set. But gas was $1.50. Houses were $150.
Crazy that you could make 20% on bonds back then.
It was, and I had like 8 years, 10 years, and I never touched them. But then that ship has sailed.
What is it, like 4%?
If you're good,
if you're lucky,
if you find a good one. But that was the thing. How between all the different stuff, and now houses are. You can't buy a house in California for under $1 million.
Right.
It's ridiculous, especially down here.
Mate, don't even get me started. Like our generation, I mean, I've got a bit unlucky just because unlucky in a sense, like the way I spent my 20s. Like I just gypsied around and, lived a crazy life, but I didn't do what a lot of people did. And bro, like to try and get into the game now, like this generation now that doesn't have anything, that is trying to get something,
right.
Fucked.
Completely.
Doesn't even make sense. Like there's a $7,000 difference between what I rent my place for and what the mortgage would be if I bought it.
Wow.
Like how the fuck does that work?
Well, and you're pretty blessed to be able to get that deal on that rent, but still I don't want to be the whole conspiracy how the government's just keeping us down, but it is. I mean,
there's something wrong.
Who owns their cars anymore? Who owns their house anymore? Like that was my thing. I want to own this, own that, blah, blah, blah. I paid cash for stuff because I was able to, get European money and blah, blah, blah. But now, it's like I have 3 kids and I'm like, how are they going to start? How are they going to do that? But but I'm just going to tell you this, is that I did the same thing because I jumped from a motorcycle to a truck, from a truck to this, did a little bit of TV announcing, back to a truck. I've had such a blessed life racing. But then I look back and I see these guys that, I know guys that are doing, kicking ass business-wise. I'm like, fuck, if I would have just stepped away, hung up the racer thing for a little bit and worked on business, would I be happy? The same thing with you. Yeah, maybe you don't have, this house overlooking Newport and you know what I mean? That some guy did in his 20s and this, that, but you can't do that.
Yeah, everyone's got their own, like I can look back on my life and know exactly why things happen the way that they happen.
Look at what's it afforded you.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Now you have guys like me going, hey man, put me on your fucking podcast.
Yeah, everyone's got a different route to get to where they get to. And, everyone's got different starts, so it's like you can't even look back at your own life and think you should have done things different. Like you did the best that you could, but it's just now, to look at, like you said, with your kids, like the position that people are in now.
Yeah.
That if you don't own something, if you don't have good luck, it's fucking brutal, dude.
Yeah. If you don't have if you're not going to inherit a bunch of money when your parents die, there's no silver lining.
Yeah.
But honestly, that's where I look at my life and go, my dad was a humble house painter. My mom was a housewife, but they were there for me. They loved me to the moon and the stars and back. And my dad would kick anybody's ass that ever fucked with me. Literally got in fist fights at the races because if somebody jacked with me. My mom was always there. Every time I called home from school, I'm sick, she picked me up and blah, blah. They were always there for me. And so it is what it is. And so the sooner I've learned, because it doesn't matter if you accept it or not, you still go through, fuck.
Yeah.
God, if I just had $5 more million in the bank, not 5 more, but 5, more than I have now, it would make life so much easier. Yeah. But you know what? It's not supposed to be. And I enjoy working. So I enjoy doing the motorcycle tours, all the different stuff that I'm doing. So if let's say I won the lotto, you know what I would do?
Same shit.
I would do the same shit. I want to go ride my motorcycle and show people how to ride.
That's honestly the secret, eh? Like I feel the same way. If someone just magically gave me $20 million tomorrow,
which you can if you want.
Yeah.
There's a listener out there.
I would do the same shit. I'd just go buy a sick warehouse. I'd build this bigger. There'd be way better camera. Like everything that I do now, I would just do better. Yeah. But I would still, I fucking landed in America on Monday and I did a show yesterday, do a show today. I'd do one tomorrow if someone would. You know what I mean? I love doing it. I love working on it. It's the best project.
So are you at the stage you fly business?
Nah, I didn't fly business.
Yeah, that's the goal.
I flew. I upgraded myself to premium economy though.
Yeah, but I'm so long torsoed. I'm slouching to sit here. I can't do it. If I don't lay down, I'm a wreck. Like I went to India with Alpine Star and Royal Enfield. I'm like, I gotta lay down. Like we argued over it. I'm like, I'm not going.
Yeah,
I gotta lay down. And when I did, I felt like a new man.
Bro, when I did South Africa, 27 hours in the back of the fucking bus, in the middle seat, and then I get to South Africa, and I have to go straight. We drop our bags at the hotel. I have a quick shower because look like a fucking train wreck. 27 hours of that shit, and then 10 minutes at the hotel, shower, straight onto a rooftop bar to film the show, like the Kickstart show that they do for World Supercross. 4 hours doing that, had some food, and then went back to the hotel. Woke up the next day, completely fucked, needed an IV, the whole thing.
Yeah.
Didn't even know that I was doing the commentary for the Supercross. Like when I landed, I was just like, where the fuck's Ralph? And they're like, oh yeah, he's not coming. And then then Saturday, Friday, was in bed sick. Saturday did the Supercross. Sunday morning, left the hotel at 8 o'clock.
Fly home.
27 hours back the other way. I was like, dude,
yeah,
I don't know that I can do this without business class. I think I'm getting to that point in my life.
Well, I'll give you the nod because I think you're crushing it when you do this stuff because you bring. Like I loved your Mitch Covington. I love all your interviews. You have a way of getting guys to relax.
I appreciate it.
And talk shit, and you can drop an F-bomb here and there. And, but yeah, there's a certain point that you guys just got to go. I could just stay home and do a couple podcasts and make as much money as I'm going over to Europe to do this shit. Cause I don't like traveling. I like it when I'm there. Like I said, when I went to India, I loved it, man. The chaos and
but the problem is you just can't teleport there.
I can't just get there. Now I did teleport one time to France in the late, I think early 2000s when I was introduced to Ambien. Dude, straight up. So I landed in Newark from Charlotte.
Where is he going with this?
No, straight up. So the guy goes, I'm like, I don't like I tried NyQuil and stuff like that. And you wake up groggy, you feel shit. He goes, no, take this. It's out of your system in 6 hours. I landed in Newark on a flight, flew to Charles de Gaulle. And I'm like, he goes, make sure you're sitting down. Dude, I had a row. I took that thing. I woke up.
Just deleted.
Just gone. Yeah. And like everyone's looking at me and like this one guy goes, I just got to say it. What the fuck did you take? And I'm like, Ambien. I'm like, he goes, we had movies, we had meals, we had turbulence. You didn't budge and you were just snoring. And I said, it was beautiful. And when I got there, felt like a new man. But then you start to get addicted to, I like to go to sleep like that. Yeah, so you had to stay away from that stuff. But yeah.
I'm getting to that point where it's just like, this is getting to be, it's tough. And you know what? I'm glad you said it because I try and say to people, and I'm like, I mean this.
You're a big guy. You're, what are you, 6'2"?
I'm just 6 foot. Yeah. Not all the way 6. Not that tall.
We'll get you some shoes. We'll get you some boots.
Yeah. But, I'm like, I don't want to sound like an asshole, but if I stay home and do a podcast every day, you realize that I make a lot more money than what, and it's just like, I don't, and I'm not saying I'm worth it, but I'm just saying that's the reality of how this whole thing works these days.
And I'm in Newport, California. It's not, it doesn't suck.
Yeah. Oh, and that, well, I live in San Clemente.
Oh, perfect.
So it's just, dude, to me, that's just living. Like the ideal, and this goes back to what we were saying. Someone gives me $20 million, I probably wouldn't even move house.
Right.
I like my house. I got everything I need. I'd do all the same shit. I'd just do pods every single day. I'd probably have more people working for me to take
the stress off.
More workload off me and not, I mean, my payroll now is like ridiculous. Yeah. Like even just with 3 full-time people, So it's like, that's a stress still. If I could take away the stress of payroll, have my own big warehouse, I would do the exact same shit.
You have a basement at your house, so everyone just comes in there, you'd roll down in your footsie pajamas and just go,
I just want a big warehouse, dude. Where I can build cars, I can build trucks, I can build bikes, I can do jiu-jitsu, weights. Like I could live my entire life in a 12,000 square foot warehouse.
100%. There was a show way before you called Dan Tana. He was a private investigator in Vegas, and he'd drive his car into his house. I think every every man goes, that's the house I want. I can still, I can still hear the exhaust ticking. He had a Thunderbird back in the day. But yeah, that's, before I moved out of El Cajon, I had a 1,500 square foot house and a 3,500 square foot garage with boats and all the different shit in it. So the ratio I felt was absolutely perfect.
Yeah. But so to bring all the point back is that if you would do all the same things just with more money in the bank, like what does the money matter? Yeah, so like right now I'm living the exact life
that you want,
that I want to live. What more, like why does money would make life easier and it would do this, but at the end of the day, it's not worth.
Yeah. I train a bunch of guys, not a bunch, but a few billionaires, in listening to the shit that they have to go through and what they're doing. And so Larry Connors was a guy who was my teammate, and he was one of the guys that went to space in Elon's deal, and he went to the space station.
No shit.
And he's a billionaire. And
what do you train him for?
We were teammates. God, crazy. Marty Tripes just called me. He must have heard me throw him some kudos.
Yeah, that's random, mate.
So Larry is Bill's big apartment complex is like $100 million at once. He's got them in New York, Chicago, Dallas, blah, blah, all over the world. And so he was racing cars. That's his thing. And then he's like, I want to do off-road trucks. And his philosophy is I want to live 5 years, of a life. And so he came into off-road, won the spec championship, and says, I want to go trophy truck racing. So he hired me as a coach, and he says, I like you as a coach. He got rid of his last driver. He says, become my teammate. So I was his coach, his teammate, and we started developing the four-wheel drives. And he's the one that put the money into, if you're talking to Ted Christopher on here, who's another one of my students back in the day, is the truck that everyone's driving is the Mason all-wheel drive. Well, I did 99% of the testing because Larry had the money. And then I had the know-how to time and then deal with Neil Mason and doing all the different stuff. So we did 5 years. He realized, and so I said to him, Larry, I want to be a billionaire as bad as you want to be a racer, because he wanted to bring his philosophy to racing. He would come in and he was really good. He taught me a lot about notes and downloading and doing a lot of different things. It made me a much better teacher working with him, but he wanted to do it on his terms. I'm like, no, you just got to go be in the dirt. He's like, no, so he's like, I got the helicopter. I built another 4-wheel drive truck. I'm like, it doesn't work that way. You just got to go drive and learn dirt. And I said, you want to be a racer as bad as I want to be a billionaire. Like, you can give me $1 billion, I'll take it. But your schedule, because he would get out, man. He's got a list this long, and he to the minute. If I get on a phone call with him, RJ, I got 5 minutes. And it's like literally, bye, and it's over. I don't want that life. I don't want that life. I don't want to be a famous guy, this and that. And so that, like you said, I kind of eclectically perfect. I think we're winning, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's, I guess having the clarity to see that in the moment, or the perspective, it's like wanting to be able to want what you want in life and to own the things that you want, I think is the greatest power that a person can have. Because if you're just so, and I know people like this, they're just so focused on money, or they're so focused on having this goal or this thing, and they're not even in control of wanting that. And you're like, or someone that, big thing for a lot of like younger dudes that I see is like the Instagram, social media, chasing pussy. Yeah. Like they just want this validation from people so bad. And they put so much equity into it of their life, mental equity, sweat equity. And you're just like, dude, if you could not want that, your life would be so much better. And I think that everyone's got their own version of that in life. Like if you're a guy you're never going to make a main event. You're never going to be pro. You are never going to do that.
Right.
But you want it so bad. Like, if you can't control the things in life that you want and be responsible for the things that you want, they just end up owning you. And that's a one-way ticket to just misery.
Disaster.
Yeah.
100%. And, no one, people like Brian Deegan, I don't give a fuck what people say. Yeah, you do. No one likes to be disliked.
Yeah,
I don't.
Sure.
I mean, maybe there was some times like when punk rock guys and stuff were wearing stuff to be offensive.
Yeah.
I want to push the boundaries. If I'm a gangster, I'm this. I want to make people uncomfortable and this and that. But I think people generally want to be liked. I mean,
For sure.
Because I know that if somebody jumps in my shit about something on there, for one, if you do it on my platform, on the Ricky Johnson, fuck you. I'll remove you. This is not motocross action where you chose to follow me. I didn't buy your thing. So no, if you were my friend and you talked about me like that, I'd tell you to fuck off. I would. So if you're on my thing and you want to bash me in front of my wife resists, and she's getting her feelings hurt and all the different stuff, screw you. I'll delete you and block you. Come back in, I'll delete you and block you again. It doesn't matter to me. But everyone, you do want to be liked. I mean, I think, and I talk with Brian about it with Haiden and stuff. I'm like, dude, it's just kind of douchey. And he goes, I know it is, but he says chicks dig it. So, and I'm saying, I had a mullet, baggy pants, and I did a lot of look like fucking MC Hammer. I did a lot of goofy shit to try to get girls to like me. So I really can't cast a stone at him.
Yeah, but you were on the other side. Like, you've got a perspective of it because you were literally that guy, but in a different
100%.
era.
Right. I was the guy. I was a brash. I was abrasive. I hit people. I did stuff, and then I'm like, I just got to focus on being the best me.
What was that all about back then?
I want to be like Bob Hanna. Bob Hanna, had a speed bag on the side of his thing, and he put people's face on it, and he would,
That's so wild.
and he would say like, he didn't cuss, I'll break his effing legs, blah blah. And he was serious. Like, him and Howerton, man, they would chop each other's legs off. Like, there was no love lost. They hated each other, and they took each other out hard, And I thought, well, if he's the best, I need to be like him. I even put a duckbill on for a while because I'm like, I had to be like him and stuff. And then Bailey and I went at it. He cleaned me out one time really good. I cleaned him out again. And then we finally got to a point where it's like, you want to keep this going, or we want let's just race each other, And we're at Gainesville, and so something happened, and he came in, he hit my back tire, and I think his wrist or ankle's messed up or something. He hit me. I look back, and he literally goes, "Sorry, man, I didn't mean to do it," And I'm like, "No, we're good." And so from that point on, I'm like, I'm not going to waste my energy, kind of like what he did with Joe, slow down to take somebody out. I didn't do that anymore. If it was 2 years down the road and I remembered what you did to me, I'll get you then.
Let's transport the Haiden Joe thing back to 1983. How would have fans and the media and
Same.
people reacted?
Everyone would have hated the guy for doing it, because for one, Joe's so damn lovable. He says, "Oh, blah, blah. I'm sorry, I don't speak English." You know what I mean? He just, and Joe, and Joe is just getting better. Like, he was just getting faster and faster, and just like, so not passive, but a soft riding style, but really strong at the end of the moto. So people really embraced it, even though he wasn't American. Because he was a good guy, or he is a really good guy. And I really feel that Haiden just messed up. It's like, if I can knock him down, I can win this championship. And he just didn't think past it. And I did the same thing. I went after people and did stupid stuff. And then, and I don't think anybody could have told him. I'm pretty sure his mechanic told him what to do. I'm pretty sure his dad told him what to do. And he's like, screw that. If I can win this, then it's another championship, another $1 million, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go for it. But then you don't realize that when you're trying to rob the bank, that the cameras are on you.
Yeah.
It's like everybody's seeing the move that you make. Yeah. So I think he'll learn from it.
But do you think people would have reacted the same way? Or like, what did you make of the reaction? Because
it was massive.
That's the crazy thing about the sport now. And this is what, I guess maybe this was my point earlier in saying that the sport's like the biggest it's ever been. It's the biggest it's ever been in the sense that there's so many eyeballs and so much noise around everything that happened. I mean, even when I started this, there was nothing else on YouTube.
Right.
Now you just open up YouTube every day and there's 50 different people talking about the same shit.
Yeah.
All the fans that can comment and leave messages, and the whole thing is just so much more overblown than it was in your era.
But it ramps up really fast and then it dies really fast.
Yeah.
I watched the Supercross premiere and I did one with Whiskey Throttle. We never talked about what he did. We talked about how he's the dominant guy, that Haiden is the dominant guy, that if he does it right, he'll win every race this year, but is he going to throw himself, we're not even talking about that. It was the same thing which I hate how people jump on the thing. So when Hunter didn't shake my hand. I made fun of it. I put my hand out there because here's the thing. I was the Grand Marshal, and I'll tie this all together. I was the Grand Marshal there. So I was supposed to be up there and give him his thing. I literally just walked over to Johnny O'Mara and said, dude, I am so proud of him. The injuries that he's had, being in the shadow of the new messiah of motocross, and he's going to win this race. Good luck. Congratulations to you. Congratulations to the dad, the mom. I'm so happy for him. So I said, I'm just going to stand off to the side. And I have my son. I go, I want to acknowledge him. And I don't know if he knew who I was or not. He didn't shrug me off. He just spit. So he probably thought, oh shit, I almost spit on the guy. But I had my hand up there. When you have your hand out, you're like, I'm not putting it away. So I turned around, and walked towards my son. And then I started making jokes with my new best friend, but what I hated was all these people, fuck him, he needs to know this.
I don't know how you didn't think that would happen though.
No, because I made fun of it. I was totally laughing.
But yeah,
and then I went to defend him. I said, "You guys need to stop."
The internet is gonna internet when it comes to that shit.
But also it blew up, and then I went back and said, "Stop it, stop it." He's got bigger. For one, he's not reading this, so don't flatter yourself. Two, it is the biggest thing I've ever done on the internet. It went total viral, but I've been the racer. I've had people, you're in the moment and this and that. And it was whatever, we were having fun with it. So we've made up. I gave them both bad boy pendants at the Nations and stuff. But
that had to be a learning experience on your end of like what the internet can do with something.
Yeah.
Because when I saw that, I'm like, dude, there's no way you post that thinking that wasn't going to happen. I
literally thought it was just going to be, we were going to laugh at it. Yeah. And I thought people were going to make fun of me. Going, who do you think you are? He doesn't know who you are. And I thought it was going to go that route. But when people attacked him, I'm like, that's bullshit.
But that's such an example of how toxic shit can be now. You know what I mean? Like, I just think that, you just had no idea what people are actually like on the internet in 2025.
Right. And I had some guys, attack me on some other stuff a long time ago. And I saw it because people, the keyboard warriors and stuff. But then I found out who they are. I called them and threatened to go to their house. I mean, I'm like, no, we're going old school on this. You call me out, what's going. But the one that really hurt me and bothered me was when they went after Lee Diffie and Ricky. All right. Ricky's a racer, all right? Limited education, right? He's been a racer his whole life. He's trying. He's doing the best he can. He's changing it up. Maybe he has some goofy words but he's trying. Ricky is literally trying to be the best announcer that he can be. Is he my favorite? No. Is James my favorite? No. But I'm tainted because I've been in the booth and I'm like, I see that. Why aren't you talking about this? Why aren't you talking about that? But you don't know what it's like. You know what it's like to have a producer in your ear. Don't talk about that. You're like, but so-and-so's bike is smoking, blah, blah. Don't talk about that or this and that. They don't know what goes on behind the scenes. And when everybody attacked Lee and Ricky and just hammered them, I mean, it just all kinds of just really dirty shit. I was like, God, what the fuck is wrong with you people? They're both, I've worked with Lee. He's a dream.
Well, the thing with Lee as well that people don't understand, and I don't know whether I've spoken about this, but all right, Supercross is a niche sport.
Yep.
So let's just call that what it is. Not everybody in the world. Like I was at LAX the other day at Customs coming through America, and the guy's like, "What are you doing here?" I said, "I'm going to A1." What the fuck is that? Okay, so that's what we're dealing with, people. So let's just keep that in mind. But I bet a fucking $1 million that if you played Lee Diffie's voice to that guy, he's heard Lee Diffie talk
from the Olympics.
Bro, or everything. Indy 500, the Olympics, that Formula One movie.
Yeah.
He's in the Formula One movie. Daytona. Okay, so let's now, as a Supercross fan, go, why would NBC want Lee Diffie in the booth? He's not a motocross expert as such. But when you're flicking the channel as the dude at LAX that doesn't know what Supercross is, and you hear that voice, then you're getting this kind of social proof that this sport is as big as XYZ that you've heard that voice on before. What if it's enough to just stop a person from flicking through the channels? What if they land on that channel?
you know?
Well,
so I think it's a much bigger play that the average fan doesn't think about when they're listening to Supercross. Like, oh, we should have whoever the fuck. It's like, no, dude. Like, let's have the guy that is in movies and is on the Olympics, and because it's better for the sport overall to the people that don't know anything about it.
When he's such a professional.
Yeah.
Like when I work with him, he has to navigate around us special needs kids. Like when I was doing Rebel Romaniacs and stuff, he's like, he would set me up to do this or to do that. When he's working with Ricky, he's got to do this. And when he's working with Ricky and James, that's not an easy deal there. You know, you got two guys that really, Ricky's learning more, and James, they're both getting much, much better, but they're not, you know, media guys. They've never been formally trained. They might have taken a class or this or that. So they're learning their way. And do I need to be announcing in a bubbly voice and talk this? Or do I just say, well, you know, Jett is doing this. He's keeping it in third gear. Notice no hand on the clutch. He's rolling out the gas. Notice the length, his roost is small. You know, just play by play. So they're trying to do both.
And the problem is, and I'm glad that I did do it in South Africa, because I definitely learned a lot, and it gave me a different perspective on doing it. I'd never done anything like that before, ever.
Oh, really? You never do?
Nah. And then, dude, I didn't even know that I was doing it. I got there on Thursday and then was like, where's Ralph? And they're like, yeah, he's not coming. And I'm like, okay, so who's doing the commentary? They're like, you're doing the commentary. I go, okay, so what do I do? They're like, just do whatever you want. That was the only instruction. And then Daniel Blair's like, trust me, bro, it'll be fine. It'll be great.
We got it.
That was it. So having that experience, you've got as the analyst role, I guess, you've got such a short window to try and make your point. And them having three guys. So Gold Coast was the first time, wasn't on the main broadcast, but it was in like the qualifying session. I sat down and it was me, Ralph, and DB, and I'd said basically nothing, because there's two other guys that are good at doing it, and they've got their flow, and like, what can you even add? So for them to do it with three people is hard. Maybe the 20-minute main events make it a little bit easier because you got a bit more space to breathe. But to try and get a complex point across is very difficult in the short hits that you've got to do it. So at South Africa, there was a triple and then a right-hander and then the rhythm section. And so that's where the race was won and lost. And then there was another section after the whoops. There was a big, kind of like a big 180 that went across two lanes. Jason Anderson had way more front-end feel there. Joey Savacci had to land off the triple like on the left side, open up that turn, wasn't sliding up the face at all. Yeah, because he just had no front-end feel, right?
Yep.
And so it just took me 40 seconds to explain that to you. And you know what I'm fucking talking about, you know? So then you're Ricky Carmichael, it's A1, chaos is going on around you, and you're seeing so much shit that you could talk about, but you've got such a limited window. There's a producer that's in your ear telling you how long you've got till this. You need to mention Rider of the Day. We're about to go to commercial break. After this, so you're halfway through a sentence that you're already trying to jam in. Then you've got a producer that comes in your ear that completely throws up. Like, people just don't have perspective of, you know, of what goes on.
And then that's when you're with Lee and he's in the middle of something, and they'll come in and go, we're going to commercial in 5, 4, 3. And he
is talking through their countdown.
Narrows it down and what? Boom.
Yeah.
But if you listen to Ricky, which was me, I'm going, okay, we're watching Savacci. He goes to the outside. We're going to...
Yeah, and you just stop. I did that.
I'm like, what? You know, because you think you're being told to shut up, but it's just like, no, wind it down, or bring us into commercial, or bring us back, or blah, blah, blah.
Or your fucking thing just stops working. Like, there was 3 times we had all these tech problems where I'm talking and you've got earplugs in where you can't hear anything outside.
Yeah.
And then your sound goes out and you're just fucking mid-sentence completely deaf. And then you've got to figure out, did the live feed cut? Like, there's so much shit that
and you're completely silent.
Yeah, that people just don't get. But I think one thing that I've thought about since then, why everyone gets so pissed about the whole commentary, is because you can't choose it. People that are listening to this right now generally would like me and like you. No one's making them listen to it.
Right, but
it comes up in
chose.
their feed. They chose to listen to it. They're on board. So you just don't have the same level. Like, if you want to criticize me right now in this podcast, fucking turn it off.
Yeah. You
Just literally stop, bro.
Right.
Like, if you're in any way frustrated, just stop. It's that, and then go listen to one of the other options, of which there are
one
now
of thousands.
of which there are now many, you know. But commentary don't have that luxury. People didn't want me commentating at World Supercross. Tough shit.
Yeah,
I'm
here.
This is the guy we're putting on. You can't change the channel. You can't watch a different feed. So I think as well, because I would always be like, dude, why the fuck do people care that much? But that's what it is. You can't choose it. You're stuck with it.
But and this is going to kind of tie the whole thing together, is that there's so much noise, and the mob mentality, and that's what they did with Hunter, and I hated it. Sorry about that, Hunter. Didn't mean to. Really didn't mean to. But the same thing when the mob mentality went after Ricky and Lee, it's gone. You know, like, because Lee's my good friend and Ricky's my friend, and I talked to him, you know, and I went on and I said, hey, you guys, you need to shut up. You know, I went, my 10 followers or whatever, I told them, you know, they're doing their job. And the reason Lee is there is that he's so good. I mean, like, it amazed me. Like he did Supercross, and then I'm watching him do gymnastics, and he knows everything about Hum Sing Low did their first backflip and whatever. I'm like, God damn, that is massive.
He must have a crazy work ethic. I've struggled to even watch the races from the weekend before and be like that, you know?
Well, we've had this plan for a month, and you didn't even know I broke my wrist and I got hurt when I was 25 because you have so many other things going on.
Well, there's also a big part of me.
Bust your balls a little bit, buddy.
No. There's also a big part of me that I don't do research on purpose for things.
Right.
Because I want to be surprised in the moment.
Okay.
More than, so that's like, I don't know whether, sometimes I think I'm right and wrong for doing this. Sometimes I think I should do more. Other times, but because like the reaction that I have to that is like, it's so real in the moment. If I knew that happened, it just kind of takes away.
Right.
From it,
So
you know?
when you and your people reached out to me about doing this, I'm like, because I've watched how you are with Hunter, you know him well.
Yeah.
So you see, it's two friends talking.
Yeah.
And then Mitch, you just kind of went, threw him a ball and let him run it. And he's a beautiful storyteller.
God,
he told the whole thing from beginning.
That's one of my favorite podcasts of all time.
Yeah. And the sound bites with Tiger when they didn't dump him and all the different stuff. And by the way, you know, guacamole, which, you know, as he told you, we started the stuff together. And so we call him guacamole because when he gets drunk, he likes to eat guacamole. He's not drinking anymore. He had a little bit of a heart issue. So all well wishes out to Mitch Covington. But yeah, so I'm like going, which way does he want to go? Does he want to go the bro down road? You know more about me, or do you want to, I hate to just sit there and go, okay, well, I started riding when I was 9 and then start
which
taking
I
it from
don't
there.
really like to do those sort of shows anyway.
Yeah.
You know, I always try. The thing is, well, at least I've found, most people, I want to lock in with someone for like 3 hours. That's the block of time. This is my philosophy anyway. It's like, it's the block of time. We just sit down. Most people don't want to talk about themselves in that chronological way for 3 hours. There's like a natural back and forward that people like to have.
But Mitch did it perfectly.
Well, that one was just like, he just lived this fucking insane life, dude. Like,
Well, when we were there, so the Mitch Covington story, so the driver's called a thing called the PDG because Jim Baldwin, who had a bunch of money, were racing there. And then I promoted my own race. And so we're like, I was doing TV for Jim. So I knew how much the TV cost. I knew how much track building cost. And so I kind of was that guy. Then Mitch was doing sponsorship for Johnny Greaves, the new monster, and this and that. And so they said, well, we don't trust you completely, Rick. So we want Mitch to handle the money and this and that. So we put together the Torque series with a bunch of money. And then we went to Monster. And then I was actually a Red Bull athlete.
Yeah.
And working for Monster at that time. I was respectful, didn't wear my hat. And then Rodney Sachs watched a video that the first 2 races, and I won both races. And halfway through the second race, Rodney Sachs goes, turn off the fucking video. And he's looking at me, and I'm going, awesome, here it comes. And he goes, are you fucking telling me I'm paying this guy X amount a year, and he's he's sponsored by our competitors and he's whipping our ass. And to me, it was like the biggest validation of my life, And then Mark Hall just goes, yep. And he looked at me and I said, Mark Hall said ex-motocross racers don't make good truck racers. He goes, you say that? Mark goes, yep. So it was pretty cool. But then they got rid of the series. They got rid of me, which was fine. I went on. I was racing for Red Bull and doing trucks and this and that. And then Mitch just championed the whole deal. I mean, because he's that guy.
Yeah.
He don't give a fuck who you are.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way. He's as respectful to my daughter as he is to the president of the United States or Tiger Woods or anybody. He's that guy. He's the perfect guy for that job.
Yeah. That was just I knew nothing about Mitch either. I'd met his son Tom a couple times.
Yeah, Thomas, yeah.
Because he actually tested a JDR bike, and that's where I started my career in the US, was doing stuff with JDR. That was it. But yeah, dude, that was a ride. That was like one of my favorite podcasts I've ever done. It was just that he's just like the best storyteller, like the accent, dude, that was unreal. He's such a legend of a guy.
Yeah, you coming in. So yeah, I love him, and like I said, he had an issue with his heart, but he's doing much better.
What's up, Gypsy Gang? I'm so stoked to announce my new flannel with Dixon. You can check the link in the description below or head to dixon.com. But we've been working on this for about a year now. I picked all the colors, I picked the design, I picked the patterns, and it's finally alive. If you've worn Dixon flannels before, you know that they are the best flannels that you can buy. And if you've never had the privilege of owning a Dixon flannel of your own, this is about as good as an excuse as you will ever have. I've been wearing this flannel all through Japan. I've been wearing it on the podcast. It's well and truly wear tested. Remember, head to dixon.com, click the link in the description to cop the all new Gypsy Tales signature Dixon flannel. So going back to your career.
Yep.
Who was your biggest rival?
Bailey. I mean, Bailey and Wardy.
Yeah.
I had guys that whipped my ass, and strong guys, Hannah, Barnett, O'Mara, the list goes on and on. But the guys that you'd beat them one week and they beat you the next was Ward and Bailey. Bailey and I in '86, we're a niche above, I think our bikes were great. We went 1-2 in everything, and also went 1-2 in everything from Paris Supercross to Nations to all that stuff. But Wardy, what I really respected and loved about racing with Jeff Ward was I could put it to him really hard one weekend, and he would show up like nothing happened. It was business as usual, and he would just go home and go to work, and he a lot of times would beat me the next weekend, and we would go back and forth, 1-2, 1-2, 1-2. Lachine was so talented and so fast, and there was times that he beat everybody, but you didn't worry about him in the championship because his self-destruct mode was there. He wasn't there every weekend. He had his good races where, like in Troy, Ohio, you see that Wardy and I had second and third, shirts off, sweating our brains off, and there's Ron. He doesn't even look like he's sweating. I'm like, what? How the hell does that happen? But when it came to David, he said it best that we were George Foreman and Muhammad Ali. He was very stylish, very smooth, always timed everything perfectly, and I just I would hammer through the rough stuff. And so I hated it and I loved it at the same time because every lap that I did, was like, oh man, I had my lap times that I would have them show me. So I would go out and, let's say hypothetical, my first lap was a 1 minute. If my second lap time was a 59, I'd have them show 59, but then if I went back to a minute, it was -1. So I was always, but my best rider was always them. Jeff Ward just made a second on me. I got to get faster. David Bailey just made a second on me, going faster. David Bailey's up early in the morning. He's not, you know what I mean? So they were in your head 24/7.
What was his riding style like compared to yours, do you think?
He looked just like Chase. I mean, just the posture, the build, the great leg strength, and just fluid and flows and stuff like that. And mine is more like, not like Tomac, I don't think it was ugly on a bike, but I didn't care what it looked like. Like I would hang off the back if I had to, or I'd take a foot off, or I'd do whatever. It didn't. I was just about speed. Like just going fast felt good. You know, so if I had to just go through the whoops and blitz, like I was one that would typically start blitzing a section where Johnny and him would do like 2, 3, 2, 2 wheel tap out. And I'm like, well, if I just get on the top and just muscle it through.
So just more bulldog style.
Exactly, more bulldog style. And I think my strength was corner speed. I was always good. You know, I made a joke to Mike Webb, is that, you know, you jump for show, you turn for dough. And I was always able to find traction because I grew up at Carlsbad. Saddleback was really hard and slick. You had these little tiny berms and stuff, so you knew how to, once again, ride losing the front wheel and be comfortable with it. So my corner speed was my strong point.
Yeah, there's a different thing that happens when you grow up and that's all you ride. Like you can see the French dudes that just famously spend thousands of hours riding on rock hard concrete. They just have a completely different relationship with traction.
Yeah. Well, and Bale was, I learned from Jean-Michel because when I came back, I got hurt in 89. And then when I came back to race the Unadilla GP, and I was fit. My wrist was hurting. As a matter of fact, Jean-Michel's trainer is the one that showed me how to tape it to where it wasn't in my palm. But anyways, I go out there. I'm lean, I'm fit. I know I could do 2 45-minute motos wide open, this and that. I go out and practice and qualify. I come in and when you come in, you know you're the fastest guy. You just know it. So I pull up.
I personally don't, but sure.
Yeah. But I pull up and I go, how's my time? And Brian Lennis goes, you're 3 seconds off of Bale. And I'm like, what? There's no way. Like I'm wide open everywhere, but I was 185 pounds. He's 160. So I went up in the bushes and watched him. And he comes into the corners and he's really light on the berm, spreading the load around. And I'm riding it like a California track, like Tomac, using the hard berm to bounce to try to exit. But what it's doing is going, so getting my big ass frame to move, 185 pound frame, I'm losing time. So I'm like, okay, I got into the berm earlier, not spread the load out and change my riding style. And I did in the race and I was able to, like, sure enough, the race starts 3 seconds. 6 seconds, 9 seconds. And I'm like qualifying. I'm going as fast as I can go. Then it goes 9 seconds, 8 seconds. And I'm already anaerobic. We got 40 minutes to go. And I'm like, he's dying. He can't do it. Then boom, boom, boom. I caught him. And I'm like, oh, now he's going to play this game. So I nail him. I just run right in. I'm like, all right, fucker, I'm going to piss you off. You're going to come at me and we're going to make it a war. But he had spent himself. So I hit him and I took off as fast as I could go back to my time. Then I went 3, 6, 9, and I yarded him, and he was dead the next moto. So the reason I tell you that is that there was still, at the height of my career, there was still more things to learn. And watching him, the way he cornered, and I had so much respect for him. You know, we talked earlier about going to Japan, and in his contract, he wanted to ride a road racer. Never did a road racer.
Yeah.
So we're there. He goes out on the 250, never rode it. I mean, he goes out, he does his first section, he comes in, second session he comes, he's like, RJ, look, I drugged my knee. He finally touched his knee. Dude, the next section, he's 3/10 off the Japanese champion's time on his own track. I mean, can you think about that?
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, so he was just talent.
Unbelievable. And that's where Jett, I think, he's Jean-Michel 1.0.
Yeah, I agree.
He does a lot of the things that Jean-Michel does, but Jean-Michel did goofy shit too. Like he would drag his back brake through the whoop to keep it flat to squat the back end down, but he would kill a set of brake pads in a heat race. And he had to be careful on the 20 lapper because they could completely go away. But that's how he kept his back wheels down, because when you have the throttle on and the brake, it sucks, it squats the suspension and goes.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's a bunch to learn and watching the different guys like Herlings in the sand. It's like, wow.
Yeah, I think Jean-Michel Bale is probably one of the most underrated riders of all time.
He was he went from that, did I think one season of 250, then he was a factory Yamaha 500 rider on 502 strokes.
Yeah.
The most lethal, evil thing possible, and he was a top guy.
I talk about it all the time, but there's a video of him, 1992 Motocross Nations at Manjimup in Western Australia. and I've ridden that track, and I know how gnarly that place is. It literally looks like Jett today riding around there, but on a 500 CR2 stroke.
How is he doing it? Like
so smooth, so effortless, so efficient, and worked everybody. Yeah, it's the craziest thing to watch.
Yeah. But you watch his lines, like he's constantly searching, because when we were at Hondaland, it kind of pissed Roger off because he wasn't traditional. He never did motos. Like he would just go find a hill and just jump and do like 180s and jump from here to there. Like he made it his own personal playground. But that was the beauty of Jean-Michel, is that he would just innovative, just trying things all the time.
But so he didn't train hard in the respect to where he just couldn't.
If he cycled half as much as he does now, because every time I watch him on Instagram, that son of a bitch is on a bicycle climbing the Alps.
Where's he? He's in France.
Yeah, he's in France. Yeah,
dude, I'm gonna have to fly him here for a podcast one day.
Yeah, and he speaks great English. You know,
yeah, he
can act like he doesn't. He speaks unbelievable.
Real dude.
I'll reach out to him.
Yeah, he follows us on Instagram. Yeah. Like I think he just likes shit. And
Jean-Michel, if you're watching, get over here. Don't be a through the queue.
I wonder if he still
He's an asshole.
Freya. Yeah. I wonder if he still ever rides moto.
I don't think so. I think he'll go trail riding and stuff, but he's like a massive bicycle guy now.
Yeah.
Like him and Wardy did a lot when he was racing. Bale didn't, like I said, man, if he trained half as hard as he does now, we would have never touched him.
Yeah, literally, yeah. Because like if you said to pull out 9 seconds and then you can reel him in, like you're never going to see someone nowadays, if you're fast enough to get a 9 second lead, there's no way you're letting that go.
Right.
Everyone's fit enough for that, you know?
Well, and that's the thing, is that he dominated everybody, because at 9 seconds, they're out of your sight. Like you're not gauging their braking distances. I mean, they're over there. And so that's the thing, is he did that to everybody that year. Jean Van den Berg and all those guys, not Pit Buyer, but a bunch of the other guys, he would take off. They couldn't see him. And so then maybe his bike will break. And he won every race except the one that beat him. So I was really proud of that.
Really? What year was that in?
89, because we went over, I didn't realize it, but I was over in France and went to his house and stuff. And he goes, sorry to show you this, RJ, but look up. And I looked up and he had the 1989 Gatorback. He won the trophy. He won that day.
Yeah.
He only did a couple races. He did some Supercross, and then he won that day. I was like, oh, small world.
Yeah. So what were you over in France doing then?
I think, what was I doing over there? Oh, I was over with helping Tortelli with Motocross Nations.
Oh, awesome.
And so I just went over there to see him, and we went trail riding and then did some other stuff, because him and his brother did all kinds of wacky shit. Like they made a car with rollover bars and
Tortelli?
No, Jean-Michel.
Oh, Jean-Michel.
He's a total sportsman, as they would call over there. He loves to ski, loves to hike and trials bike and all the different stuff. And he had a bitchin' little house up on the hill where he had these things. He's like, oh, I jumped from this road. And like, as you're going to, he's like, I jumped over here, I jumped over there. Like anything he would see, he would do.
Just a super creative, like riding for the fun of it.
He's an artist.
Yeah.
Completely.
That's awesome to know.
Yeah.
So when you signed the Fox deal, I feel like that's one of the more like iconic kind of points in motocross. So I remember when Pete was here, he was talking about that and how big of a deal that was to Fox. What do you remember about that kind of time period?
I remember everything. So I was the JT guy. I was the young JT guy.
Yeah.
And then I was part of the massive team that had everybody. And then Sinisalo came in. Mm-hmm. And so from 83 to 84, I signed with Sinisalo. They had Burnworth, myself, Wardy, and I can't remember who else. And but then a year went by, I won the championship, and then they're like, we don't want it. We just want to tone it down. We're just going to go with Wardy. So I was in Finland at the Motocross of Nations, and here comes this kid, like 15-year-old kid with a notebook. That's just no bullshit. And he goes, good-looking kid. And I'm thinking it's a Finnish kid or a Swedish kid. And he goes, Rick Johnson? I said, yeah. He says, Pete Fox. My family owns Fox Clothes. I'm like, hey, how's it going, man? He's like, I've always idolized you. I think you got the coolest style and this and that. And I know that Yamaha's going to white and red and this and that. He says, we want to sign you for next year. And I didn't have a deal. So I'm like, what do you got, kid? And so he opens up his notebook with the pencils in it and all the shit. And he drew the outline on white paper filled in the black, filled in the red, and it was the white pants with the red and black Yamaha down the pant leg with the red foxes, with the red stripe with the white foxes, and then the Yamaha and this and that. And so then that's how it started. So then they started doing the Ricky Johnson signature line. 85 wasn't a great year for me. I think I got fifth or something like that. But then we switched to Honda. And so from there, it was, okay, we're going to come out with all blue kit, and then I had the Bad Boy Club up on the shoulder. And what was good is that Fox let me horse around with Bad Boy Club and stuff like that. They weren't real possessive and that. And so Pete would just dream stuff up. He's just like, well, let's do this. Let's do half, one side red, one side blue. I'm like, okay. Because I didn't give a shit. I just do it. Wear this. All right. What the hell? Like I said, I wore Bad Boy Club stuff. I had a mullet and all that shit. So I was very easy to encourage, all the way down to, we did a photograph session at Alcatraz in the prison. So I'm in the prisons with it, and I got myself chained up and doing all this kind of gay stuff. Don't mean to offend anybody, but that, and then after the 500, I think it was in 87, I won the 500 outdoor championship, and I had to fly to San Francisco. And he goes, I got this idea. I'm like, what is it? He goes, you'll see when you get there. And I walk out in the studio. Here's a rock, and then with a statue of Roll Down the Thinker. And he goes, I'm like, so I'm naked on a rock. And he goes, yeah. Go shave your legs, and because I had hard lines from bicycling and stuff, so I'd put makeup on my cheek and my ass and stuff like that, and then slick my hair back, and I did the pose on the rock with the one boot. So think about it, and thinking about it, boot protection, and honestly, that was when we went from with Alpine Stars.
Yeah, okay.
And Alpine Star made the Fox boot, so it was a Fox boot, but it was Alpine Star. So I brought Alpine Star over there, and. Once again, if that was today, what's funny is everyone's done nude photos. Like, it's no big deal. But then it was like, oh my God, you're promoting pornography and blah, blah. Either old ladies loved it, or the Christian Coalition said I'm promoting Satanism and blah, 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 all this crazy stuff. But it didn't matter to me. Same thing when I was with Jim Gennard in Oakley, painted my face and did all this crazy stuff. And he had the artist do it, and he took the pictures and stuff. So when I was with Fox, I didn't have a ton. I made a lot of money because everything was performance-based, like contingency. I'm like, I get X for this, X for Moto, X for this, blah, blah, championship and so on. So they spent a lot of money on me. Like, I won a lot more. I had like an 80% win ratio, in 86, I think it was. I never finished off the podium. So I was, I was making a lot of money, but they went from number like 5 to number 1. Because I was on the cover of every magazine, because your performance wins. You know what's sexy? Winning.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so I was winning a lot, and they were paying a lot. And so it was a happy marriage.
Yeah. It's just an iconic point in the sport, and really modernized the sport. You look at some of those, the zebra print.
Yeah.
Like, anyone can go to the track and wear that today.
Right.
And that was in the 80s.
Right.
It's so hard in fashion to have something that can stand the test of time to that degree. Yeah.
Well, and that was what Pete and I worked so well together, because he could dream it, and I would tweak it. I'm like, maybe this or maybe that, because they had to make me custom pants because I had huge legs back then. So I had a 31 waist with like 36 legs. So I had big legs. And so they'd have to custom make me clothes to fit. But everything that I wanted to do was fine. And then also we realized really early on, whatever I'm wearing in the magazine sells. So it's like I worked with Life's a Beach, and we started a company called Two Hip, and we were selling stuff. And so I would wear a certain thing in the ad. Well, that's the only thing that sold. So I realized whatever you wear sells. So I would wear one thing in one moto, something in the next moto, because that's what kids would want. If you win 2 motos, you're getting pictures and you're getting this and that. So it was a good working relationship with Pete and I for a long time. And then what happened with the Honda line deal, and then we broke up, which I didn't want to go anywhere, but Honda gave me I had to make that choice.
So how did that work? They basically just said, like, we're going with this company, you can't wear Fox.
So they came to me and said, we were going to make you an offer. And so I had an idea what it was going to be. They opened it up, and I'm like, holy shit, That's a big number. So I'm trying to have a poker face and act like, holy shit, that's a lot of money. Because I was definitely going to be the highest paid rider in the world at that point. But they said, but here's the caveat: is this includes riding gear. And so I'm like, well, but I got a first rider refusal from Fox, blah, blah, blah. I got sued by Sinisalo because I had a chest protector on, that I didn't mark out the JTs on the side. So they wanted to shoot me with money. Then Yamaha, a photo leaked of me on a Honda before December. Yamaha didn't pay me my last contract. I said, I don't want to get sued. Just cover that and I'll sign this. Because when I told Fox that, they said, we're suing you. We have the right, blah, blah. And I said, well, but they include the whole thing. And so they're like, well, how much of it? Because it was over a $500,000 contract at that time. And so Honda's like, tell them $400,000 of it is, is clothing. I'm like, it's not. And then Fox wants to say it's 30,000 of it is clothing, So I got to a point where I just got tired of arguing with everybody. And I would go park at JT because I always knew John agreed to Gregory. And ride down at Palm Avenue. And I said, hey, John, you want to put a deal together? I don't want to argue with anybody. I just want to go race. And so he did it. When I did that, it was perfect for Fox because they wanted to get out. They didn't want me in Honda line because his dad told me, said, you should be paid by every clothing manufacturer because you were so powerful at the time. If you would have went Honda line, every rider below you would have had to do it, and it would have changed the market. But because you went to JT, which we were fine with that because you weren't with Honda line. But then the next year, Fox became the Honda line clothing, which kind of
still is even.
I think so. There's a few people that do it now, but it really pissed off Honda. I think that Ray Blank was the manager at the time, and he credits me for ruining the program, and so I still to this day I can't get a motorcycle from Honda. Like
really,
they won't. Like they let me borrow an Africa Twin one time and a side by side. I'm like, hey, I'm doing my schools. What about that? Nope, we don't got it. What? Hey, can I get a side by side? I'm doing military schools. Nope. So They can say I'm not blackballed, and Lars is great with me. We can talk and stuff, but he doesn't.
Yeah, he's not the one giving the shit out.
Exactly. So that killed my relationship with Honda.
That's crazy. Over a gear deal.
Yeah, but think about what it would have done because they had Stanton Kudrowski, they had George Holland, they had Leask. Everybody was on Honda line except me. So and I was the number one guy at the time, and I ended up getting hurt that year, so it might have backfired anyways. But because I didn't go, people were like, and people wanted to have their own identity too, and that's where we are now.
Well, I think it worked out better in that respect. I think guys should be able to have their own identity and be branded the way that they want. I think I kind of like the fact that 250 teams, you kind of get told what you got to do and you got to put in your time. Right. And also it's harder for those teams to get funding. Yeah. So kind of, you got to
it makes perfect sense.
Give and take. But yeah, once you're on the 450, like the Deegan Fox thing, I love that. Like that's the only place he could have gone. They did the right thing. That's the right brand for him to be on. And we'll get to see some really cool shit now come out of that relationship.
Well, and doesn't that company also own Metal Militia?
I don't think so.
I thought
maybe they do. I don't know.
Or they did. I don't know. But anyways.
I think Brian owns it, or Brian and Larry.
I think Brian got it back.
Yeah. But yeah, it's just cool that, you should be able to have your own identity as an athlete. Like it's so important to people's brands. You think about Ricky and James and the Fox era now with Alpine Stars being like, I think they're the dominant player. Like they're the premium kind of, like maybe they're the number one these days, and Fox is right there as well, and now they've got a top dude. So I think it's like a whole layer to the industry that I'm very glad we have.
Well, yeah, and there's so many.
Yeah.
Like there's so many of these gear companies come. I'm like, what business model makes you think that's a good idea?
It's pretty tough now.
You know what I mean? Like even 7 with James, but how hard was James working to promote that? Because they had good stuff and they had great people working over there. But once again, if you're a riding gear company, what does everyone want? Free gear.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You can give them a discount code but as soon as they win intermediate race, I want free stuff.
Yeah.
And contingency.
Yeah, that's kind of like the whole industry, eh? Everyone wants everything for free.
Exactly. Well, I still do.
Yeah, I definitely do. But I mean, yeah, you look at car racing, it's so different because everyone just has an expectation. You got to pay for everything in car racing to a certain point.
And if you did watch the F1 movie, that's bullshit. There's no flyers driver wanted.
Oh, dude. I actually just watched it for the first time.
So did I.
Like a week ago. What did you think of it?
I thought it was good. Honestly, I mean, I'm a big Brad Pitt fan, and I joke, and if Lee's watching this, it was the perfect foreplay for my wife. She's watching Brad Pitt, listening to Lee Diffie, so it was great for me. It worked.
That's so good, eh?
It worked out perfect. But what the thing that was overshadowed, and I think really only racers got it. Remember at the end of the race when he's talking about you get to a certain point and everything becomes slow motion and you're flying. And I tell people that, you know, I say I've experienced with myself greatness a couple times. Like I've done something like I transcended me. I just did something. I was like one was at Daytona, the other was in Seattle, one of my last wins. Like I was thinking about things were happening before, even like when I went to pass Johnny O'Mara, we're coming to the corner and I just kind of saw him lose the front a little bit and I just arced to the inside. And when he went, he cased it. I went right, you know, it's like I adjusted here knowing that. Did I consciously do that? I'd like to think I did, but it just happened. And I was just like, damn, like that was cool. Same thing at Daytona. I did a couple things where I was like, I can't believe how fast I just did that. And then I've also seen other people do it. Like I talk about James Stewart when he's on a 125 doing things that just blew my mind. And now watching Jett, and Jett does it so quietly.
I feel like he is in that zone
quite a bit,
90% of the time.
And that's where I think he's special.
That's his secret, yeah.
He's special. And you know, I've listened to you talking with Hunter about it now. Hunter is stronger than him, can outrun him, can outdo this, but his just knowledge, his connection to the back wheel and to the front wheel and to the bike is just is the bike IQ and dirt IQ is phenomenal. And I always tell people, have you ridden an electric bike yet?
Yeah. Yeah, I have a stock. I love it.
That's what Jett Lawrence feels like. You're always in the right gear.
Yeah.
You're always getting traction.
Yeah.
So imagine feeling like that, shifting gears and doing everything, and that's you're experiencing. Because I got to ride the Stark over in India, and at first I'm like,
Oh, how good are they?
I had so much fun. This thing went 100 miles an hour. It straight up, like it flew 160 kilometers. It hauled ass. There was this thing with Royal Enfield and the Stark. They made it like not an adventure bike, but it's a bitchin' bike. And 10 minutes in, I'm like, this is rad. Like my feet are relaxed. I'm not in there. Like I just had the two brakes. So I'm on my mountain bike again. But I got all this power. And then when I go to accelerate, I can roll it on, perfect traction. I can break loose if I try, but typically that. So that's what I tell people. So if you want to know what it feels like to be Jett Lawrence, ride an electric bike and you just roll it on. You just feel going.
If you want to know, I completely agree. It's cool to hear you say that because I say to people, if you want to experience the very best, like your peak ability on a dirt bike, go ride a Stark.
Yep.
That will show you what your potential is. I'm probably 3 seconds, 4 seconds a lap faster on like a big outdoor track on a Stark.
Because you're always in the right gear.
Always in the right gear. And the biggest thing for me, not having a clutch. When you look at photos of me on a Stark, I look so much better than a normal bike.
Because you're not waiting for it to stall.
No, it's because when I'm on the throttle on my 450, I'm using my clutch.
Right.
And I'm not getting my weight forward. I'm just staying neutral and staying kind of like a bit cautious and a bit. But on a Stark, you can't. You have to go fast, you have to put your head forward. You have to get in that correct body position. You don't have a clutch. Everything is on your modulation of the power with your throttle and your body weight.
Yep.
It just puts you in the correct position. There's no clutch to stab and drag through. That is the peak of riding a bike.
Well, and you don't stall. Like when the biggest thing when we rode 500s was they wanted to stall all the time.
Yeah.
So you hauled ass, went fast, but when you were coming in, you pulled in the clutch to almost nothing.
Yeah.
And then get through the corner because you come in and you go, tut, tut, and that big piston go pop, pop, and it'd stall on you. And you couldn't bump start it because it was so much compression.
Didn't want to start hot.
So you're like, don't stall it, go. Don't stall it, go. And that's where Bailey was really, really, he was an artist at that. So was Brock Lover. Really, really good at that.
But yeah, I think you're right that Jett is just in the flow state. So he just has so much less head noise. I think just in his life in general, you know, like he's just such a cruisy guy. And I think his personality lends perfectly. Have you seen the video that he did playing golf with Jason Day?
Unreal. His swing is like, and that's the thing.
Mentally, it's not, forget his swing. You've gone on a YouTube show. You're playing with a guy he's won major championships. He has been the number 1 ranked golfer in the world, and he's watching you do a tee shot. Your first tee shot, everything's on camera. You stick it to 5 feet.
You lace it, yeah,
bro. The mental, I would crumble into a pile of piss.
Oh yeah, I would have knocked the thing. I would have smashed it into the ground.
There's literally zero chance that I could do what Jett did in that moment. Yeah. I have a good golf swing. I've played golf. I've shot golf in the 70s before, right? Mm-hmm. Very rare. It happened.
Yep.
There's no way mentally I could do that. Golf swing is one thing, and how you can hit a golf ball. That guy, fucking special. What's between the ears?
Yeah, because as you said, he quiets down the noise.
Yeah.
You know, and what I loved is when he was a kid, you know, I remember I never seen so many people want to help somebody. Like when he was the Australian Supercross, when he was the young kid and this and that, Ricky's offering help. Hell, I even reached out to him because I'm going, if this kid gets handled right, which his family has handled him right, the sky's the limit. And, but it's his ability, you know? So if you were racing against him, what would you do? And then I'll tell you what I would do to try to beat him.
I don't want to say that.
I try to piss him off because
I think that's
when he loses his temper, I would hit him, and I wouldn't try to take him out. For one, I got to try to catch him. I might have to hit him when he's passing me, but I would make him think I got to get 1% away from him. And maybe 1% is not enough.
Yeah.
But maybe 1% is enough for him to make another mistake. There's another percent because to just go try to Bailey was the same way. To out smooth Bailey was never going to happen. I had to rub his feet. I had to be right there. I had to antagonize him and just be this tormentor.
Yeah.
But right now, who's going to do that to him?
Well,
Deegan.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah. That's what's going to happen. Like he's going to create so much noise around. So, okay. We just said Jett is the most gifted guy at quieting the noise, entering that state.
Yep.
And if he's in that state, unbeatable.
Correct.
So how do you do that? You make so much noise that even the guy that can quiet the noise still hears some noise. And I think that's going to be what the plan is.
And when I said that, because I watched, you know, him lose his shit with Jason Anderson and stuff like that, but that was
years ago.
And that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
he's not the same guy.
Nah.
And I'll be honest with you, he didn't look his best at Donations. You know.
Yeah.
You know, the going off the track and missing that, and you know, I don't. He wasn't. That wasn't his A game.
But they were over it.
No,
Everyone's over it.
No, I get it. Yeah. I get it. But what my point is, Hunter wasn't. Hunter rode phenomenal. You know what I mean? And they're like, oh, but Jett was faster in practice. Well, it's a smoother track. There was, you know, it was his first couple laps. But anyways, the point that I'm getting at is that he had a bad day. I don't know what happened with the crash, but he cased it and he hurt himself. We're all human. And that's what Chad Reed's dad said to him. He said, don't you worry about Jeremy McGrath or these guys. They all bleed. And even Jett Lawrence bleeds.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So I guess my point is I would try to do something. Hell, I'd hit on his girlfriend. If you know,
I feel like I feel like there's no limits. I think that it sort of sucks in a way. I think I've actually seen a bunch of people criticize some of the current guys now. Like if you look at Sexton at Salt Lake, he didn't touch Coop. Do you think roles reverse? I think Coop even said in the press conference that if the roles were reversed and he had to
and he had to beat Chase to win the title,
he'd hit him.
He would have smoked him.
Yeah.
So I saw people criticizing Chase and like just the modern dudes in general. There's been guys that message me be like, these guys are fucking pussies. They need to smash Jett. But there's a point where I think that the guys just have a certain level of respect for his ability that they're just like, yeah, man, like we're not gonna fuck with this guy.
So let me clarify. I wouldn't smash him. Like I wouldn't try to take him out. I don't want to hurt anybody, but I want to beat you. I want to do whatever I can. If I have to start next to you and lean on you, if I was Team America, I would go, okay, we need to get Jett and Hunter in the back. Start next to him and run into him.
Well,
I think
that's why our guy Kyle ended up on the ground
exactly
twice in the first turn, because I think people were just like, fuck this dude. Like, you are not getting a good start.
And honestly, I think he was the star of the show.
100%.
He worked his ass off. And I mean, it's hard racing against 450s. The roost that you're eating, and you can't.
Well, and he's a 450 guy.
No, I know. He's not a little guy.
No, he came over and rode. He hasn't rode 250s in like 4 years.
Yeah.
So he's doing it all on a different bike.
So back to I would try to do something.
Yeah.
Try to find something that bothers him. I don't know what that is, but that's the way, like I said, I was afraid to race people because I was afraid to get my ass kicked by Daryl Schultz. So I learned how to fight. Not that I wanted to fight anybody, but I'm like,
you wanted to remove that
I want to remove the fear of getting beat up, and so what is his deal? We don't know yet because fuck, he's unreal.
Yeah. It's gonna be a crazy. When that 27, I've said it a bunch of times, but A1 2027, that's going to be the biggest Supercross race of all time, I reckon.
Yeah, and I wish if everybody could, listening to this, that is a team or a rider, take out of your fucking vocabulary, if I can stay healthy. No shit. We all know that. Just remove it from the thought process. I need to, and I learned from Mark Roberts and some other people that 1% rule. If I could just be 1%, 1%, 1%. And when I went into Anaheim going, I'm going to go for a top 5. I don't know what Wardy's doing because I don't know what Brock's doing. I don't know what Yamaha guys are doing, Suzuki. I know what I'm doing. And I know that if I do everything right, I'll win. But if starts and this and that and whatever could happen, if I leave here in the top 5, then I can go race from there. And sure enough, if I did that, I came out okay. But it's the guys that are going, I got to win. Does Eli feel I have to win to set my precedence now? Does Hunter have to say I have to? All these guys are in that position. Webb is, I got to show them that I'm still the champion. Cooper Webb is like, Justin Cooper is like, I got to show them that I'm the guy now. And then Roxon, that everybody's bidding for that spot on A1. But just don't say if I can stay healthy. Don't even say that, because you're planting a seed. And I heard Jett say it. Well, if I can keep healthy, we'll break records and do this. Well, no shit. You know what I mean? If Bob Hanna didn't break his leg, his record would have been much bigger. If David Bailey wouldn't have gotten paralyzed, I probably wouldn't have won as many races. You know what I mean? If I didn't get hurt,
if my auntie had a dick, she'd be my uncle.
Exactly, 100%. And so just, I'm going to go be the best that I can be. And right now, if everyone's at the best, I still think Chase can give him a run for his money. When everybody's at their best, when I've seen the best Chase Sexton and I've seen the best Jett Lawrence, Chase has something for him. But it seems his kryptonite is and it goes back to Motocross Nations at Redbud when they both went on 450s, and I thought, okay, here we go, and Jett fucking hauled ass, and he dropped the gauntlet there.
That was his first ever 450 race.
And he was beautiful on it. And I think Chase was like, what the hell? And
Chase and Eli just had that crazy season where they would have been like, nobody has ever gone faster than that on a 450. And Jett was just like, hold my Red Bull, bro. Did a stoppie, put his whole shot device in himself. That's like that John Michelle Bale type shit,
Straight up. Hard to beat when someone's that comfortable.
Yeah, I know. It's just it's just not. I mean, I glaze them all the time, but it's just crazy to see someone at that. You know, you're just watching someone that's doing it the best that anyone's ever done it.
Well, and I'm not saying this because we had our riff on Instagram, but I really think Hunter's the one to beat this year. And I would have even in
Supercross.
Yes, because I think now that with Jett out of the picture, it changes everybody. And I said this on Whiskey Throttle. You breathe in different air. Just knowing that he's not there, like all week long. Because what is everyone thinking? What's he doing? What's he doing? What's he doing? Now he's not there. He's walking around the pits or hobbling around the pits on crutches, shaking hands. You know? And I think this is going to give Hunter a chance to show what he can be. Hunter looked phenomenal in Donations. I mean, all day long. I mean, I think he bobbled a couple little track was sketchy, but all in all, he was the guy to beat. And so I think look out for Big Brother this year.
Yeah. Yeah, it's going to be a crazy season, just the way that it's kind of wide open again now, you know. Like the entry list is just insane.
Yeah. So I would encourage everyone to quit saying if they can stay healthy, because it's a gnarly sport.
What was the most stacked year that you raced, you reckon? Was there ever a year where there was just so many dudes that could win?
I think probably the biggest stacked year was the year that I just got into it. I'm going to say like 82, 83. Honda had like 5 works bikes, you know, Schultz, Magoo, Donnie Hansen, Johnny O'Mara, David Bailey. Yamaha had 3 or 4. Suzuki had 4 or 5. Kawasaki had 3 or 4 or 5. So it was strong back then, but the talent wasn't as good. Like guys were good, really good motocross guys, but the supercross specialists like O'Mara were coming too. And because Barnett really wasn't great in supercross, he was just fast, like timing stuff. Because there was a lot of single jumps and berms, and if it was muddy, Barnett was an animal. But when when we started jumping and timing and doing the different stuff, that's when you saw the 80, you know, Bailey and O'Mara and Wardy, and then I came into the picture too, because we were all, and Brock as well, just studying the game.
Akrapovich, I will say this, best built muffler for the money.
I've never owned one in my life. They f*** those things.
Dude, $1,600, dude.
Yeah, I ain't doing that.
Yeah, you will. You'll do
it. Damn you, Chris Kiefer. They've got one. This part fits your ride. 1,300 with shipping. All right, let's go. So now we hurry up and wait. Oh, that was quick.
Yeah, already.
That's unbelievable. That happened so fast. Because this order was over $79, it qualified for free shipping. And Kiefer was right. This might be the most well-built exhaust I've ever seen. And we wasted no time fitting it to my YZ450. The way the exhaust mounts on Yamahas is unique, but really simple. And in about 20 minutes, we have transformed the look, the sound, and the engine characteristics of this 450. All that's left to do is hit the track. As usual, Kiefer was right. The Acro took the power of the Yami and put it in all the right places. It was smooth off the bottom, but still meaty, and I loved the new exhaust note. To transform your next ride, hit the link in the description and head to motorsport.com. And right now, if you head to motorsport.com/win, you can enter their ultimate ride sweepstakes and win a YZ450F of your own. It's such a different era too, because there was years where some bikes were just so much better than others. And I don't think that I could be wrong, but I just don't think that we're in that era nowadays in the same way.
No, there's not the division of bikes, you know. But one of the things that I always said is, you know, I won every championship I had on a production bike 86 we all had to go, but 84 I was on a production bike. But the beauty that I had was I practiced the exact same bike that I raced. Even though it wasn't as good, I knew exactly what it was going to do. And that's where you see now the guys have a practice mechanic and basically a works bike, is because it has to be identical to their race bike. And that's one of the things that I really encouraged, because my race bike was so much faster. Like the Honda works crank and all the stuff. It was quite a bit faster than a stock bike.
Yeah, how much better was a works bike back then compared to a stock bike or a built production bike?
If you look at like 85, 80, 83, 84, 85, the Honda's works bike was 20% better. I mean, it was phenomenal. But guys like Brock Glover, who rode, the Yamaha, a fucking air-cooled 500 and beat David, a lot of times. But he rode it every day. And he knew exactly what it was going to do. And that's the thing, is that it comes down to the end of the moto, the bike only isn't slowing down that much, the rider is. Yep. Even today, the factor, the bike's not going anywhere. It's not losing horsepower. It's air cooled, fuel injected, blah, blah, all the stuff. Maybe in a mud race, but everywhere else, the bike's not going anywhere. The rider's gonna fade.
Yeah. But even as I said that, I'm like, oh, it's not that big of a difference. But you talk to Dino, and he did the last 5 rounds or whatever on the HRC bike, and he's on a good team in the 5-hour Honda team, and he's like, bro, the bike's just so much better. It's just crazy.
Well, that's the thing, is that when I got my works bike, my so-called works bike, my race bike from Honda, the crank, like I'm just like, vroom.
It's so light.
I'm like, it wasn't light, it just was smooth, no vibration, and just like there wasn't like the Yamaha vibrated and all the stuff. There's a reason why Honda wins in Formula One, MotoGP, and everything else that goes along with it, because their engineers are unbelievable. And that was the thing that impressed me the most, was just the rideability of that crank.
So just that crank made such a huge difference.
Huge difference. But they also, they polished the valves, and, we had different pipes and carburetors and stuff like that. So there's nothing left undone. And also they had Showa suspension, which was the best by far then. Was way better than Kayaba back in the day.
Pretty cool that you got to live through that era.
I know. I went from shit stuff to really, really good stuff. I even got to go work with Kent O'Leans. That's how far back it goes, because in 84, all Yamaha would let me do was run an O'Leans shock. And Kent O'Leans would come over and test with us, and Stig Pedersen, and Babushka. Anyways, like all those guys. It was great to be an 18-year-old kid and come in and go, well, it's swapping and kicking and doing this and doing that. Then they go tear it apart and let you develop and build, be a part of something that's growing and changing.
I wonder why Öhlins never was bigger in Moto, because they make great shit.
Well, they did. So that was the reason why I left Yamaha, because we went to Motocross Nations in 84, and Brock did a Supercross in Sweden. So we raced in Finland the first weekend, and then we raced in Sweden the next week. That's when I met Pete Fox. So we went out and practiced, and Brock got there, and I think he brought a pipe or something. And so, but anyways, Kent was there, put on upside down forks and Öhlins shock, and let Brock race it in a non-national event. And so me being me, and Brock, let me ride that thing. So I get on his bike, I rode it, and I'm just like, they're awesome, man. I'm tracking, I'm doing great. And Kent goes, I'll give you a pair for donations this weekend. So I called Kenny Clark, our team manager, and I said, hey, Kent will give them to us. He said, we're good. You just don't have to pay for them, nothing. Just Kenny, I rode them. They're unbelievable. Absolutely not. No way. I'm like, but Kenny, you don't understand. Like, I'm racing against complete works bikes here, and let me have this. This is going to help me. No, that was when I turned my, turn my shoes towards the door, and I'm like, you're not willing. I'm doing everything I can, but you're not doing everything within your power, because you have to stick behind this. We're a production. I'm like, I already have an Öhlins shock on there, so what's the big deal? And I think in their mind, well, it's going to look different. It's going to do this. You can't really see the Öhlins shock and stuff. And that was what made me change. I'm like, right. I'm gonna go over to Honda where they would do anything. They gave me kangaroo seats. They, whatever I wanted, they gave me.
So what year was this?
85 to 86.
Yeah. Okay.
So, but that was in 84. But I had another year of my contract. I had 85. I won the 84 championship, and then I had 85. That's when I met Pete, and I rode,
Yeah.
the white and red and black gear. But I wanted out of Yamaha from that. And then I had some fork issues at Unadilla. I was out in front, and they were sticking down, and they wouldn't change it, So I'm like, if you're not going to change, I got to go somewhere.
And then you ended up just strolling into one of the wildest eras of factory Hondas ever.
Well, I rode it. It was Ronnie's bike. Like I said, I raised his handlebars probably 4 millimeters. They adjusted the shock because I probably weighed about 15 pounds heavier than him. And I got on it, and I was immediately faster than my practice bike. And I rode my practice bikes hard. I was at a little track up in Carlsbad. And I'm like, I tried not to act too like I was going to do it, but I told my dad, I go, I'm signing with them. I don't care what it is. I'll make it back because I can crush on this thing. And it worked out that way.
Yeah, it's just it's strange that Olin's never really got a hold in moto. I know even right now you can buy a set of forks for the Yamaha 450 that are apparently amazing on there. But
they didn't here, but they like Hawk and Carlquist ran all Olin stuff. A lot of the factory Yamaha, Peterson, and I kept forget the other Swedes and stuff. They were big on the factory Yamahas in Europe. But once again, when we went to production bikes here, they're like, we can't change. And then when it became that, then they were so tied in with Kayaba that they couldn't. Then all the Olin stuff went away. So then Yamaha stuck with Yamaha was Kayaba, obviously, and Honda was Showa.
Yeah. But yeah, you look at mountain bikes and you look at all these other places. And I wonder why Fox Shocks never made a run at Moto either. Because they did back in the day.
Yeah, I rode for them when I was 13. So Bob Fox was the shock, and Greg Fox was the clothing. But they were together at the time, so they had the head and the tail. Then they separated, and the tail went suspension, and that. So he gave me a big air shock for my YZ 125, and they did a bunch. But then once we got into linkages and the factory suspension got better, that's when it went away. Because Fox was the main thing was the air shock. And an air shock didn't work. We needed the steel spring and the valving, and with the reservoir, I'm going to say the oil shock and everything and spring became so much more advanced that air alone didn't work.
Do you use Fox stuff in your trophy truck these days?
I have King in what I do now, but I actually do the driver training for the Fox Corporation. So I do driving schools for Rivian cars. Also I teach the engineers for Fox shocks and military, and I do quite a bit.
So how does that all work? Where do you do that?
I do it mostly out in Ocotillo Wells.
Yep.
So I got 2 companies. One is one with my son. We do a lot of the driver coaching and stuff, the guys that I race against and stuff. And then we also do the training for the Fox engineers. So we teach them what to do with their hands, with their feet, with their eyes, how to attack the berm and this and that. And then we also train a bunch of the drivers. But then we started working with Rivian where we're training their engineers as well. So what are they looking for? They don't know. If you come out of college, but I know what a complete trophy truck feels like to a bomber Jeep.
Yeah.
And then in the military, I work with Jeff Benrud, and so he's a retired Special Forces guy. I was one of his. I trained him, and we started a company called American Offroad. So we'll train Special Forces how to ride motorcycles, how to drive Jeeps, do recovery, climb hills, sand.
That's cool.
Stuff. Yeah, I love it. I've been doing that for 20-some years. And what I can legally say, and I got to do the quotes, is that I train military special forces. I can't get into who they are, where they're going, take a picture of them or nothing. So a lot of people don't know that I do it, but I love working with them because they're badasses, you know, and they want to learn.
That would be a pretty rewarding and cool job, I would assume.
Very, very cool. And I love it because honestly, I become the old, now that I'm an older guy, is the camp counselor. Like, when you went to camp when you were a kid, there was the camp counselor that was cool that, you had fun with and that. I'm that guy because who doesn't want to ride motorcycles and stuff? So they got to learn survival and the SEER school where they're getting the shit beat out of them and, shooting and do all, not that they don't enjoy shooting, but then they come out and they ride motorcycles and it becomes a survival skill. So we teach them everything, how to pit people, how to not get pit, like when you see cops trying to spin people out.
Yeah.
So we took the racing experience that Luke and I had in short course and we applied it to that. And then Jeff who's a badass in so many ways, soloed the Baja 1000 because he's just so fucking tough. I mean, he's tough as nails, but he has real life experience in Iraq and Afghanistan. And so working with him, he can say, this is how this applies to what you need to do. So it is very gratifying.
And you've just got so much just experience in so many different things, from doing the two-wheel stuff to the trophy truck stuff, adventure bikes. It's pretty cool that you can kind of bring everything into that program.
Well, and for me, I truly, like you talked about, if you had that $50 million or whatever, I would probably do an adventure bike school for free, because when I teach somebody to ride, and I'm not Graham Jarvis. I know who I am. But I know how to survive on a bike. And majority of guys, like if I took you out, you're like, this heavy piece of shit and blah, blah, blah. I get Mike Webb, who like literally he's expert level. He's a phenomenal rider. I put him on a heavy bike. He's lost, but I'm like, okay, do this, do that, blah, blah. And it's like, oh, it feels good to learn. It's like when you learn, I always loved when I learned a new jiu-jitsu movie, like you learn 2 a night, then you roll. And I was able to submit somebody with that move. It was like, yes.
Yeah.
I wasn't just taught it, I learned it.
Yeah.
And so that's what I enjoy doing with guys driving.
Yeah.
And riding.
That's cool. What's your adventure bike of choice these days?
Right now, once again, I've talked to all the Japanese manufacturers, and everyone's denied me. Suzuki was the last one. They're like, we just don't have anything for you. So I don't want to jinx myself, but I'm going to be looking out of the country, and I'm hoping to get with them.
Yeah.
But they're all so good. Everything. I always say it's not what you ride, it's that you ride. Yeah. And BMW's got the big GSs and stuff like that. If you're going to stay on the road, they're great. If you're a very talented rider, like Jimmy Lewis or some of the other guys, they can do stuff off road. But you drop that big son of a bitch, and it's heavy to pick up, and you got to learn the pickup technique and this and that, blah blah. So there's some smaller bikes that guys are learning on, and they're going to have some more fun. So we'll see.
Yeah, it's pretty cool though. I've done a bit of it. My dad does a bunch of adventure bike riding now. We went to Utah. We rode the Yamaha T7s.
Yep.
So rode them, and then I did a ride. It was like the bike I could get from Yamaha, because they don't do the WR in California,
right.
And I love the WR 450. Yeah. I reckon that's the sickest bike. And so I was like, I want to go on a trail ride with Danny Rick and one of his mates, and they were on like enduro, like KTM 500s and shit. Mm-hmm. Only thing I could get was a Tenere, dude, and it was a fucking
nightmare.
Bro, I ruined this bike. This bike was brand new.
You threw it on the ground every 2 seconds?
Man, we rode all the way to the top of Big Bear on these, like, there were guys that were camping on this road in rock crawlers, and I'm riding a T7 up there. There was this one, I crashed it probably like 3 or 4 times over the 2 days of riding, but one time I just couldn't even pick it up. Like, I crashed it in sand. Danny was behind me. I'm like, bro, you need to help me pick this bike up. There was one hill, we got to it, and I'm like, oh fuck, I probably just shouldn't ride. Like, I don't know what's up there. I don't know what's on the other side.
Hey, is it going to be worse when I go down the backside?
And it was. Bro, I pretty much fried a clutch getting up this thing. It was, the boys were sitting down there. I'm like, all right, let me go first, because I don't want any of you guys in front of me. Like, this is full send going up this hill. If you crash in front of me, I'm running over you. So I was like, just riding the clutch the whole way up. Got to the top, and then it was just, and it's stock tires too, not even.
Yeah, stair steps. You don't have knobbies. Right.
Not even any knobbies. And just took hours to get down this hill, bro. It was just absolute torture.
And that's actually a light one.
Yeah.
If you look that's
you couldn't do that
side.
on a GS 1200 or something.
No. But the thing is we do dual sport schools too.
Yeah.
Because we teach the Rangers and military guys and stuff like that. We're going to be doing some stuff with some Marines in January. And so it's great. You take them out there and you show them the processes, because it's not, if you break it down, I like to make things very simple. Like my corners. My braking is 1, 2, 3. 1, let off the gas. 2, body position. 3, brake. So I can, if you come in and you grab the brake, I'm like, no, you went 3, 2, 1. Don't do that. Do 1, 2, 3. Then I separate the cones, then I bring them shorter and blah, blah, blah. So then you get the muscle memory, just like doing a move in jiu-jitsu. You do it slow, you do it slow, you do it slow. And okay, now you got it. Now go at speed. Same thing with cornering. A, brake, B, rotate, C, accelerate. because some people come in, hit the brakes, then they gas it, then they brake and they gas it. So I was like, no, you had 2 Bs and you need a softer C. So I could just, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Break
that
it
is a
into
really cool way to look at it.
Very manageable.
Yeah.
And I'm not telling you, well, you got to do this. Blah. No, let's just fix the big problems and then I can come back. Well, come in deeper on your A. Well, back off. Longer A, longer B, harder C. Well, whatever the case may be. I can't, making it up, but simplify it. And then when you do that with people, then they're like, okay, I got it. So it's very much like jiu-jitsu. You start off slow and then you try it.
One thing that we don't do in motocross, or at least like most people don't do, is just drilling. There's no moto version of drilling, and that's, like you said, it's a third, sometimes half of every class that you do in jiu-jitsu is like doing very, very specific practice things, and most people just go out and ride.
Right. Well, they practice starts. That's the one thing they do now. And so, like for me, when I did it, I would do 6 starts. I'm not going to do 15 because then I know I have too many to, but try to make 6 perfect, 6 perfect, 6, boom, 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 boom. But I also did braking drills. I would come in and brake hard, push the front wheel, grab the front brake and skid the front wheel and get comfortable with doing that. Then I made a game with friends. We had where we parked the box fans. We put rocks. And you had to touch the tag. You had to touch the guy's back wheel with your front wheel. And so what that did is when you're getting chased, you're like, makes you that nervous feeling of being chased. Then also I'm coming in and I'm committing to bam to commit and hitting your back wheel because everyone wants to hesitate. That's like when you see a cop hitting a car on the highway, they don't commit. So I got to where I was really comfortable hitting people. Like with Jeff Ward, a lot of times I'd come in, I hit him right in the back, like boom, to try to get his front wheel to jump over the front to get it to get him, not to try to crash him, but to get him off and get him offline. Same thing. If I'm rubbing him with my front tire and I'm not worried about losing my front wheel, it's another tool that I have. So I was big on drills.
And so you would just go out and instead of just pounding motos, like you'd obviously do the motos as well, but there was a big emphasis on
At the end, I always did braking drills. Like I set something up and I go as fast as I could. I start off first gear, second gear, third gear, just pin, and you're guaranteed you're going to lose the front wheel like 3 and 4 times, but you have to stay with it. Because what happens if I took you out there and you're just some new guy? It's going to go, whoa.
Yeah.
You're going to like let go and you're going to give it up. You're just going to give it up. I'm like, no. Get up.
That's what a lot of road crashes happen like that is guys they'll start to tuck the front and then they'll want to pick it up and go straight and then you hit a fucking guardrail.
Or they go off a fucking cliff.
Yeah, but that's literally what actually happens,
So that's I did it with Sebastian. I always worked on braking drills because that's how you pass somebody. So someone's setting you up. You outbrake them. You don't telegraph your move. You outbrake them. Then you square them up and you hit them on the exit because they were about to blast you. So it's free game. You blast them back. So I agree with you. There's not enough working on just basics. I feel our sport is too much. They're trying to lay down the perfect lap every lap and hit the whoops perfect.
Gary Bailey said the exact same thing.
Like get offline. Just do all insides. Do all outsides. And the other thing is. I used to, with our whoops, when they were brand new, I dug a rut down the far right side. And then one day I would just ride through that rut because it's uncomfortable. So it's like a mud rut, but, but I go there and I'll stop on the freeway and watch the Kawasaki guys. It's just they're hitting the exact same line, exact same everything and trying to, who's the fastest guy? Yeah.
No, it really has got to be that. It is quite strange, especially when you look at other sports and what other sports do. There's just such a different emphasis on different things, but at our level, and everyone's got the same trainers are doing the same things. And Dino was saying that there was a time where he was at Alden's where he just knew that he wasn't riding great. Like he was going out doing the motos and just not riding his best. He just knew he had things that he had to work on, but there just was no time in the schedule. It just wasn't allotted that he could go and do those things.
But I don't think a lot of people see it. I hear people keep saying that Jett is the best. It's pretty visible why he's the best, but why aren't you trying to do what he does? That's the thing.
But do you think people know what he does?
I don't think many do. I don't think they do. So they're trying to keep, what I would say, keep bringing a bigger hammer. And you can't. You might need a screwdriver. You might need a chisel. You might need a drill.
Yeah.
You know, because the equation that is Jett Lawrence is it's so hard to see. It's a chess move that he's thinking about checkmate 5 moves from the end. And because like when I watch him, and I didn't want to make this all about Jett, but he is the guy. When he was I think it was in Charlotte or something, and then all of a sudden ups at 3 seconds a lap, just like boom, like we're thinking he's done. He's having an off night, then all of a sudden boom, 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 and then gone. You know, things like that. But it's, once again, Chad Reed's dad said they're human. He's just human. What's he doing? You know, what's he doing? Figure it out. Try something different. And I don't see people trying stuff different.
Well, I think one advantage that they have, I mean, obviously a huge advantage that you've got your brother to train with. So you've always got an amazing rider to train with and to try bike setups. And I mean, even, you know, they were riding each other's bikes at press day type of, like, that's a crazy, massive advantage.
Right.
And I think that's very cool that they can do that, because anyone could do that.
Right.
AP and Eli could swap bikes for the thing and just compare notes, but they're not going to do it because they're just not as invested in helping each other as those guys are, you know. But they also have their own facility. They're not on a quote-unquote program. It's so different. And so, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Do people even know what they're doing? I don't think people even know what their days and weeks look like, because there's no one else around them that's not handpicked by them. They're at their own facility. They can build what they want. They can prep it how they want. They just got so much control. Whereas you look at Star Racing, amazing in different ways. But dude, if you ride for Star, it's a 9 to 5. It's an 8 to 5 job. You get there at 8, the track's prepped, your bike's there, you do the exact starts and laps that you're told. If you want to test something, maybe you can stay a little bit longer with, like, they'll go and they'll put in that work, and then the gym starts at this time, and then it's recovery. So it's like they don't have the freedom to try and do what Jett and Hunter are doing, and they just don't even know what they're doing to start with.
Well, but when I say figure it out is watch his riding and going, okay, and we can all look at the spacing and the times and all the different stuff. And and Eli matched him at San Diego. That was a great deal. But the track, Eli rode that track very well. His bike was right on point. Everything was great, and he did a phenomenal job. But when you're getting beaten like over and over, like, what is he doing? Watch his hand on the clutch. Listen to his RPM, because I got to hear him when he was way out in front. You know, they would come by, and I could just hear him at Donations all by himself, you know, and everything was smooth, like he's riding a Stark. Mm-hmm. So why wouldn't you try to do that? Why would you try?
Do you think, let's say Eli, for example, last few years of his career, going to a new manufacturer, are those guys even able to adapt in that way? Or I think you said it well, like trying to bring a bigger hammer. You're a hammer that you've spent your entire life forging this hammer.
Right. It's not looking that way.
Can you change that into something else?
It's not looking that way, because in the preview he talks about, I could handle all the power they had and more, and I'm the only guy that can really handle all this horsepower. Well, do you need all that horsepower? You know, or do you need to come it down a little bit? Because this is a true story. And we're in San Antonio at a 500 National. I crashed really hard in practice, got up, and I thought, you know, kind of knocked the shit out of myself. And I'm like, man, I feel good. I feel really good. Man, I'm hauling ass. I'm ripping. I come in, they start changing my pipe. I'm like, don't touch it. I had a huge dent in it. And that's when I realized my 500 was too fast for me. I needed to slow it down, because I could still, and so we started looking at it. I'm using 10 to 20% to 30% throttle. And then with the pipe bent, I was using like 50 to 60 to 70% throttle. So I could still get the power that I want later in the throttle, but I wasn't doing that. But see, Jett's good at, he's fine. He doesn't care where he's at. You know, he's feeling the traction of the back wheel. Like when he crashed at Washougal, he said, I asked too much of the back wheel and it spun out. I mean, he didn't blame anybody. Motor setting was wrong or this, that. He just grabbed too much throttle and spun out on him, which he rarely does. So So the point that I'm getting at is that sometimes you think you're faster, but you're not. One of the guys I was training, because we have over 1,000 horsepower in these trucks, and we have the buttons that we can tone them down a little bit.
Oh, yeah.
So I said, okay, Mike, his name is Mike Walser, God rest his soul, he just passed away from cancer, but he loved horsepower. Everything, the bigger, the better, blah, blah, blah. So he goes out and I said, go down the sand wash, go as fast as you can. I'm sitting over in the passenger seat and I timed it. I go back, put it on yellow, which was the low. It goes red, yellow, green, pink, blue, black. Black is wide open power. So I said, go on yellow. And he's going through it. It's going up. And I go, how was that? He goes, it sucked. Thing was so slow. I'm like, you were 5 seconds faster because you're not breaking traction. So you think you need all that horsepower. And when I got to Honda, you feel more power. Oh, it's got to be better because it's faster. Well, I can't ride it faster. And that's when I went to Mitch Payton. The Honda HRC pipe had a hard hit in the middle, but it was like unbelievable up here. But Pro Circuit pipe was more linear, not as much on top. So I ran that for Supercross, and that's when I could get that roll-on power that I was looking for. So that's what I'm saying. Just because you can, and this is a long story on Eli Tomac, just because you can ride the big bore bike harder than anybody else, I don't think riding it any harder isn't going to beat Jett Lawrence.
It's funny too, because when you ride, I got to ride one of the Yamaha factory bikes back home, and the way that they're obviously going so much faster, right? And when you're on the throttle that much, you have to valve the suspension to handle the squat under load. And so you're chasing this balance, and you're trying to use the throttle to balance your motorcycle, essentially. I don't know that Jett would have that problem. I feel like they would be balancing the bike for the bike, and then he's modulating. Like, I just don't see this as much of a factor.
You don't see him, unless he's passing or trying to do something. You don't see him go 10 tenths into a corner and then get too much and then try to be 10 tenths out. He comes in slower, gives up 1/10 of a second on the entry, makes up 2 tenths through the middle, then makes 3 tenths on the exit. You see what I mean? So it's like, okay, -1, okay, he's a half a second faster in that turn.
Yeah.
And that's where he does it like invisibly. But if you watch it, just like when I watched Bale, he's showing me what he's doing. I can't take my California burn mentality in Unadilla. I'm going backwards.
Yeah.
So you got to adapt. And I think John Tomac and Eli, if they choose to change, I think they're the dynamic duo that can do it, but he's already gone to a cable clutch, and he's talking about paddle tire and more power. So it sounds like he's going to bring a bigger hammer.
Yeah.
So let's see if that works.
Yeah. So we'll end with your prediction of the season.
So, which is good is I like to vote against Cooper Webb because it pisses him off, and he'll want to tell me, "Screw you, didn't pick me." But I'm going with Hunter, because the reason I say that is he gets great starts. I mean, his start percentage I think is better than anybody else's. He's always right there. Now, once again, I'm not going to say the healthy word with anybody, because if you get hurt, you're out anyways. But I think Eli, if Eli can relax and go, like, work with the crowd and adapt. Don't bring a bigger hammer, but adapt. I think he'll be great. I think Sexton is going to struggle with Kawasaki, because a lot of the reasons why people left Kawasaki was the rigidity. That was what John Tomac told me about why Eli left, because they wouldn't make the changes. This is the way you want it, kind of like what you were saying about Star. So I'm going to go top 3, Hunter Lawrence, Cooper Webb, Eli Tomac.
Hunter's never even won a Supercross. That's a bold prediction.
But I think he can do it with winning 1 or 2 this year. You know what I mean? Because I don't see anybody sweeping the whole series. I think Chase is on a new bike. I think he's got the ability. Does he have the mental capacity to come out of the gate, and if he gets his ass kicked, be okay with it and go, I got some work to do? Or is he going to crumble? I think Eli expects to come out and do really well, but he's not young. Injuries don't heal like you do when you're 25. You know what I mean? Cooper Webb, I think, is in a great position to win his 4th, to be honest with you. But I think Hunter's been through so much shit and I think he's ready. He looked great in the Australian Supercrosses, over in the World Supercrosses. So it is a bold statement, but I think he's the guy.
I wouldn't be mad at it. For sure. It'd be cool. What's next for you?
Next for me is I got my adventure tours that we're doing. You can go to rickyjohnson.com, and I've almost sold out A2. So I get a group I buy tickets.
Oh, yeah.
So the knothole is up at there. I
Yep.
like the section next to it. I'm not going to say the number because it's my favorite section. I got the beer garden right behind it. I got the restroom. We're above the tunnel. And so I'm getting 20 people. And then we're doing a tour. I'm going to have a motorhome in the pit where I can feed them and do the different stuff.
Oh,
and then
sick.
I'm also going to have radios so that Mike Webb and I can do commentary so we can all talk. So like we're sitting next to each other. So the guys at Rugged Radios. So I'm going to have radios for everybody to talk. I got Dean Dickinson from R&D. He's like, I got to shut him up because once he starts talking, he never gives up. But I got a bunch of people coming to A1 and A2. And so we're doing that. And then as soon as I get my manufacturer dialed in, we're going to add a ride day with it. But I don't have that inked yet. And then also I'm going for my 5th championship with Gus Villadosla and Trophy Truck Legends.
Yep.
And so we'll start that in March down in San Felipe. And then
So that's like San Felipe 250, Baja 500, 1,000, Mint 400.
Baja 400, then Baja
400.
1,000.
Yeah, okay.
And then I'll do announcing for the Mint 400 and for King of the Hammers. And then
Is that sick, the Mint 400?
it's rough, dude.
Really?
Like you're crying at the end of the day. Like when I raced it a couple times, and the one section I remember it specifically. It's like a 45 up the hill, and it's the first lap. I'm going like 110, just skimming across the tops, just blazing. The last lap, I'm going 60 miles an hour, and I knocked the wind out of myself and my co-driver like 3 times, and into the bushes, just like boom, the suspension gives up.
It just gets too rough.
Oh God! Well, the guys with 1,000 horsepower and everyone's just hammering it, and so the edges get more square, and just more beat up. By the last lap, you're just like, oh my God, this thing is just so rough. But yeah, it's a great spectacle. Matt Martelli and now the guys from Best in the Desert, Matt Martelli teamed up together, so they got a cool little racing series going on.
What's the coolest one to go as a fan to or a
The Mint
spectator?
400.
Mint 400.
I think the Mint 400.
What about King of Hammers?
King of the Hammers is awesome too.
Yeah.
Like that is a great Dave Cole, and I do announcing for that. Now you want to talk about having time? I would start announcing, at the Mint 400 and there, when the sun goes up and when the sun goes down. So you got plenty of time to announce. But the King of the Hammers, when you see what those vehicles will do, myself and my son Luke Johnson did it in what they call the spec class, and he won and I got second. You're just like going, this has got to be the wrong way. Like this is not the race course. You just, fuck, I got to go up that, or then you got to go down it, and you're just, and what these drivers do, and the speed that they go, and how technical they are, and those things is unbelievable. So if you get a chance to go out there, because you can go to the different places, Backdoor, Chocolate Thunder, and you can check it out, and it's awesome. Like 500,000 people or something out there.
Yeah, because last year it just looked massive.
Yeah, every year it is. And what's great is they do a motorcycle race, the King of the Motos, and then they do a side-by-side event, and then they do a desert race for the trophy trucks and stuff like that to do that as well. And so it's like a whole week or 2 weeks.
It's in like
of racing.
February, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, it'd be cool to check some of that stuff out.
Well, come on out.
Wild sport, bro.
Yeah.
So you got, that, the trophy trucks, and that's Rick Johnson.
Yep.
Dude, this was great.
It's a pleasure.
No, yeah, appreciate it. Glad we finally made it happen. And it was definitely cool. You've got a wealth of knowledge and experience.
I've been around the block, and I think the thing that I'm going to take from this is you and I talking about, we can always bitch about what else we want, but we're pretty damn blessed.
Dude, yeah, majorly. Be grateful for what we got for sure. Appreciate it.
Appreciate it, bro.
See you, mate.
Thank you.
If you enjoyed this content, please like and subscribe. And to listen to the full 3-hour podcast, search Gypsy Tales in your favorite podcast platform or click the link in the description below. Gypsy Gang.